The only question is how big, how severe.
Democrats warning Republicans that a showdown over the federal debt limit won't help. The UN chief tells the World Economic Forum that many parts of the world are facing recession, singling out the pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine and adding there's no end to that war.
You're standing by me.
You're on the air.
Oh.
It smells. Did you hear Hannah say it smells different in here?
No, no, they didn't hear that.
Did you hear Ryan take credit for it?
That could be good or bad, and you
Ryan's
take
back.
credit
Smells in here.
Was it good though? Or was it a good smell, wasn't it?
Today's YouTube poll
You don't have to
is
answer that, Hannah.
asking, will Joe Biden finish his
Smells
first
like
term?
Nuts.
What does it smell like?
Coconuts.
It smells very fresh, other than the jalapeno on my breath. That makes it's hot. It's very hot. It's tons of artificial jalapeno.
About the show. Let's get to the show.
What about the show? What about the show today?
Will Joe Biden finish his first term? No, yes, or yes, and he'll run again. That's a new option on the poll.
We've done this one many times.
Mm-hmm.
With all the same
We should
options?
chart them.
Yeah, we should.
See how they how people are feeling over time.
Huh.
I already know what I'll answer, but I'm not going to say it. Okay. Well, I am going to do a "Would you survive a nuclear bomb?" segment. You're going to want to hear that.
Drop directly
Can
on
we
you.
talk about the 1 o'clock hour?
Many different scenarios.
Okay.
1 o'clock hour, we have a guest in every single segment. The first one is Deroy Murdock, then Andy McCarthy, who is
Very excited
the
about that.
contributing editor at the National Review.
All about Biden docs. Car-a-Lago.
Car-a-Lago.
Oh, I haven't heard that yet. Love it.
I made it up.
That's why I haven't heard it yet, because I wasn't here. If you said it on the air.
Huh? Yeah, we said it.
Okay.
Many people have said it on the air.
Yep, we made it up.
Totally us. Taking credit for it.
And then at the
Okay.
bottom of the 1 o'clock hour, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw from the Retirement Advisory Group are going to be in studio. So if you have questions for them, you can comment them on the live stream. And then at the bottom of the show, I will give you the YouTube poll results.
It is a nice day today.
It is just gorgeous outside, sunshine, warm weather, beautiful.
Ryan, you get a live in 1 minute.
Okay.
Actually, it's 48 seconds now.
48
You
seconds.
need this mic?
I will.
I mean, he could probably just yell enough for the whole St. Louis to hear it, but
Yep.
Okay, pre-show.
Great pre-show, guys.
You're welcome.
lots of energy.
Glad to be back.
As the sky. Or tell your love story with a charm necklace. Choose from dozens of symbolic charms. Get a zodiac charm because your stars are aligned, or a compass charm because you're on a journey together. You could also select an engravable style, like a beautiful locket or a gold bar necklace. We'll inscribe a message on it, a love note to your Valentine. At Shane Company, we have so many easy ways to make your gift more personal. For more ideas, talk to a jewelry consultant today. Your Valentine's Day gift will be a treat.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
Fountains Family Dentistry is going to make you comfortable at the dentist. So many people I've talked to they just don't feel like they have a dentist. They don't feel like they're comfortable at the one they go to because it's so it's so formal, and Dr. Ty Parker is very informal. And I want to stress that because you're going to feel like there's no pressure on you. Lots of people don't go to the dentist as often as they should. I used to be in that category until my friend became a dentist, and now I go all the time. And it's very, very easy. Appointments late, appointments early, depending on your schedule. They do all that just for you at Fountains Family Dentistry. The whole staff will stay late on some days and early on some days just to accommodate you. So give them a visit. They're in Fairview Heights, Illinois, and they will be your dentist. They make it easy to do not only appointments, but to remember that it's on your schedule with text ahead of time, like 2 weeks ahead and then a day ahead, just so you won't forget. It's all about convenience and ease of use at Fountains Family Dentistry. So visit them. Their website is fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at Navage.com.
How might this week's big stories impact your portfolio? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale with Stifel. Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Eric Robert during On the Money every Saturday from 11 till noon right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I just do not get this idea that, oh, we can't negotiate. We can't do anything different other than just borrow more money, spend more money. That is not going to work, particularly as you pointed out, when we are approaching $500 billion in debt service payments and interest payments on that $32 trillion debt.
So there's Jim Jordan of the Republican House Majority talking about the way Congress goes about spending money. And in the midst of all of this Biden documents debacle, Car-a-Lago, as Jesse Waters coined it. Of course, we got a video yesterday of Jesse Waters from Balls, who suggested Car-a-Lago was first named Car-a-Lago by Jesse Waters, and then someone else said no, it was Greg Gutfeld. We got video of Jesse Waters saying it at the table on the 5, and Greg Gutfeld like just doubling over in laughter, thinking Car-a-Lago was such a funny phrase. So we're sticking with it. It's a big story. Car-a-Lago is huge. We're not going to let go of that one. In fact, we're going to speak with Andy McCarthy on the Annie Frey Show at 1:25 about that very issue. Very curious what an incredibly bright legal mind like Andy McCarthy is going to say about it. So if you have questions that you want answered, please send them to the Annie Frey YouTube live chat, and maybe we will field some of them when we talk to Andy McCarthy at 1:25. But at 1:05, we're going to speak with Deroy Murdock, and we're going to talk about that Republican majority and some of the different things that they are doing with that power. This is one of those developments that I feel is going to be very overlooked by the majority of media because they're not going to want to talk about these stories. They're not going to want to tell you things like Fox News reporting 13 minutes ago that Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida introduced a bill to eliminate the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives following a controversial ruling that tightens regulations on pistol stabilizing braces.
Give it to me. I love that.
I knew you would.
Inject it into my veins.
The ATF issued its final rule Friday that will treat guns with stabilizing accessories like short-barreled rifles, which require a federal license to own under the National Firearms Act. Attorney General Merrick Garland said the ruling enhances public safety, but Gaetz said it unfairly punishes disabled gun owners and veterans who rely on stabilizing braces to be able to fire with one hand. Gaetz introduced H.R. 374, the Abolish the ATF Act, Tuesday morning in response to the ruling, telling Fox News Digital it was the, quote, final straw. And you know when Matt Gaetz gets to the final straw, he doesn't play around. The man has a way of getting what he wants, at least the majority of what he wants. Quote, I have a lot of disabled veterans in my district who enjoy pistol shooting and rely on stabilizing braces to be able to engage in the activity, he said in a phone interview Wednesday morning. Quote, the recent actions from the ATF essentially allow them to make case-by-case determinations on whether a pistol with a stabilizing brace is legal or an unlawful sawed-off shotgun. Your thoughts?
This whole thing with the stabilizing braces, with what is a pistol, what isn't a pistol. So I forget what the name of the act is, but there was an act and it was introduced back when like Bonnie and Clyde were running around. It's the same thing that you have to pay a tax, and that's why you can't have suppressors and automatic weapons and all this other stuff. But anyway, they decided that a rifle with a barrel less than, I forget the exact amount of inches, was a short-barreled rifle.
And it's 1,000 people in St. Louis right now giving you the precise length.
Like the precise length.
Talking at their radio right now. Yeah, I heard you say it. Sitting there in your car, looking at your radio, knowing exactly what the law is.
The important thing is that, so if that rifle has a certain length, shorter barrel, then it's a rifle. But if it doesn't have a butt stock on it, then it's not a rifle. So it's a pistol at that point, and that's legal and not regulated.
What makes them more? I mean, I see more dangerous. The purpose of a gun is to be dangerous.
What makes a short-barreled rifle more dangerous?
Like, why one and not the other?
So the only thing that I can come up with is that, like, in a tight situation, close quarters combat, like if you're walking through a building, it's a lot easier to maneuver a short-barreled rifle because you don't have a 16, 18, 20 something inch barrel hanging out the front.
Even I can understand that.
Yeah. Which is crazy because, like, if you get a bullpup rifle, the barrel's in the back and the firing mechanism's in the back. So, like, effectively, it's a short-barreled rifle, but it's got a full-length barrel. But according to the ATF, it's a full-length barrel, so it's not a pistol.
Fox News says, according to the ATF, the new rule does not affect stabilizing braces that are, quote, objectively designed and intended as a stabilizing brace for use by individuals with disabilities, and not for shouldering the weapon as a rifle. Such stabilizing braces are designed to conform to the arm and not as a buttstock. However, if the firearm with the stabilizing brace is a short-barreled rifle, it needs to be registered within 120 days from the date of publication in the Federal Register. It's great that we don't have Wiggins in here right now because I just said buttstock, and that would be the rest of the segment. But he will be back at 12:45 to talk about surviving nuclear bombs.
And to me, like, this is all nonsense because you can shoulder a stabilizing brace even if it's designed to conform to your arm. You can do it. So the difference is basically nothing other than they want to make these. I don't even understand why they're doing all of this outside of just the publicity of it all, and then we can, say that we've done something for gun control or gun violence.
Ooh, so you're saying political credit?
Oh, very much political credit.
Gates said the people at the ATF making these rules fundamentally don't understand firearms. Agree?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think they are under the flawed conception that a stabilizing brace increases the lethality or danger of a pistol. It seems the ATF is on a snipe hunt.
Oh, here we go.
A snipe hunt. Get Hannah in here. It's snipe hunting time for regulatory action that virtue signals to the anti-gun left, but that has no real practical safety impact on Americans. I mean, the point of a gun is to inflict damage. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes. What about the person wielding the gun? Does that matter?
Well, yeah, that's ultimately what matters. In the end, it's not the gun, it's the person carrying it, because there's never been a mass shooting by a gun by itself. There's always a person wielding it.
I want to read this article here. I hope I pulled up the right one. There was a state legislature, I think it was in Washington. I don't know if you saw this story, Brad. I think it was a state legislature. They want to force any legislators that want to enact any type of gun legislation or vote on any gun legislation, they have to take a gun safety course so that they learn about guns. You okay with that?
Like, the gun owner in me says, yes, go learn something about what you want to ban before you ban it. Don't do it based off of, just internet, whatever. But at the same time, the libertarian streak in me is like, no, that's dumb. These people don't have to do that. But, maybe libertarianism is losing its usefulness because it allows people like that to go in there and make laws about stuff they don't really understand.
What is the basis of libertarianism these days?
Small government, you do your thing, I do my thing, we stay out of each other's way. And like,
what's the difference between that and practical 2023 conservatism?
Practical 2023 conservatism is like Ron DeSantis in Florida. So they wield the power of government.
My favorite.
Yeah. They wield the power of government to keep the private market from running over the little guy. So Disney decided they wanted to weigh in on, I forget the name, the parental rights and education bill.
Yeah, that was the actual name of it.
Yeah.
Also,
I wasn't going to call it the other one.
The Don't Say Gay bill.
But
it doesn't say gay bill.
Disney wanted to weigh in on that, and Ron DeSantis said, okay, well, we're going to weigh in on it as well. You don't get to do this without consequence. And then he wielded the power of government.
Would a libertarian governor have just hands off the whole thing?
Probably. They would have let Disney say what they want because the market can decide this and that. Well, we've tried that, and that's not what's happening. The market's not deciding.
Well, in that case, I'll not ever refer to myself as a libertarian. I never really have. I've always been proud of conservatism. And there's a delineation. I wonder if it was post-Bush, potentially, or maybe it was like a George H.W. Bush loss to Clinton that kind of pushed this into common speak among political discussions. But the idea that kind of referring to yourself as a Republican was like people wanted to distance themselves from, and it was more of I didn't leave the Republican Party left me kind of a.
Yeah, I remember that sentiment, but I don't remember if the sentiment was, the Republican Party is pretty much not any different than the Democratic Party. And I could see that in a Bill Clinton presidency, because he did bring the Democrat Party a lot back toward the middle. He had a real centrist style.
He had to.
Yeah, and what was it, 98, whenever his second term started, he had to come back to the middle. And there were people that didn't like that because they thought, well, Republicans are playing too nice with the Democrats. So what you had going on was compromise, and people on the extremes of each side didn't like it. And so I imagine that might be where it came from, but I don't really have anything to back that up.
It was 96, but I think was 96 when Newt Gingrich became the House Speaker, because the Republicans took, the contract with America and all that. I mean, when you think about that time, which we were both alive enough to know in our own youth who Bill Clinton was, and to know a lot of the things that, honestly, like if you think about the formative years of ours growing up in the 90s as 80s kids, starting high school in the 90s, the things that we learned about life that were taught to us because Bill Clinton was in the news. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about politics.
Dresses and cigars.
Yes.
And
I mean, if you think about that that's kind of, it's kind of interesting to put that into context, as we are millennials. I was born in 84, Brad was born in 83, but the understanding that we had at that time because of who our president was and the news cycle that covered that, compare that to myself sitting down to watch Tucker at night. I usually give him at least 30 minutes of my time. It depends on what the evening, and a lot of times Tucker's on the screen and I'm changing diapers or getting something ready for work the next day or helping the kids with whatever they need. If Hunter Biden comes on the screen, I have to change the channel. When the Hunter Biden laptop was displayed for the world to see, I had to skip Tucker. I couldn't watch that in my household, or I had to wait for the kids to go to bed. So I mean, but if you compare those two stories, and especially if you compared the journalism that took place around Bill Clinton and that salacious story versus Hunter Biden and the things that are just put on TV. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what I'm teaching my kids by having Tucker Carlson on at night. It's not good. Regardless, Deroy Murdock is going to join us at 1:05. And he's going to talk to us about some of those Republican actions and how the majority is handling those specific Democrats on the left. The Adam Schiff, watching him get his comeuppance is sinfully enjoyable. to sit there and see he's writhing in his righteous indignation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, stop it. No, keep going. And actually just you've got 2 years. Let it all out, Mr. Schiff, Congressman Schiff. Ilhan Omar, I don't hear as much from her about all of this. I don't hear as much from Eric Swalwell. But these three, are those the three?
Those are the three, yeah.
They are getting their just desserts. When the Democrats take the majority again, which they will at some point in time, they're going to give it right back to the Republicans until there is a majority of people who want to go to Washington, D.C. to do the business of the people. And I fear that might never happen again in my lifetime. It's sad, but what would why would any of that change other than immense tragedy where we have no choice but to work for the people on the most basic level? Why would any of this ever change?
As long as it, at the end of the day, it's about two things. It's about money and power. And as long as it keeps reaping money and power for the individuals involved, it's going to continue on the way that it's continuing on.
And part of the money and the power is the fame that lends to both of those. And you look at someone like Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz knows what he's doing. Matt Gaetz is going to be high on the list of payback when the Democrats take the majority again. Super high on the list. And the left will salivate over watching him whine and moan about whatever it is that he's frustrated about. And we'll just take turns. This is not, I mean, in my opinion, it is a lose-lose scenario because the alternative of the Republicans doing what looks to be petty in their majority holding, what looks to be petty, the alternative is they do the stand up, straighten your tie, the right thing, and show people how it's done. The Democrats are still going to do the same dang thing when they get a hold of the power.
Yep.
So this is where it is. Never wrestle with a pig because you both get dirty and the pig likes it. I think everybody's pigs.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, and that kind of goes back to the whole conservative versus libertarian thing that we were talking about. The conservative thing is to do the right thing, or the libertarian thing is to do the right thing and rise above it and don't get involved in this because you don't want to do it. But then as soon as you're not the one in power anymore, the other side takes power and then they use the government to beat you over the head.
Do conservatives and libertarians together in principle, let's just talk in principle, not in like action. Do conservatives and libertarians in principle agree that government is to be greatly limited?
Yes, I would say in principle.
In action, you would say, I mean, I don't know that you have enough libertarians in action.
No, in action, I mean, the big libertarians that I think of in Congress, your Thomas Massey's, what is it about Kentucky and libertarians? Because Thomas Massey's from Kentucky and so's Rand Paul. And they're kind of the two most libertarian
I think they're
people.
that red that they can identify however they choose on the political spectrum. And people know, are you a Democrat? No? Okay, I'm over you.
Yeah. And so, which Kentucky has a Democratic governor. So I don't understand it at all. But like Rand Paul for sure will suffer all the slings and arrows of everybody because he goes in there with a very principled, limited government, limited spending, limit everything viewpoint. And he'll be him and I think Massey was holding up spending at some point in 2020 that everybody's like, what are you doing? He's like, this is terrible spending. This is going to be fiscally bad for the country and all this other stuff. And so he just went in there and he held it up.
That's why I thought Rand Paul would be a fantastic VP for Trump.
It's a good idea.
Because Trump will go in and do his Trump things. P.S. I don't think Trump's going to be the nominee. And he's not doing himself many favors these days. But Rand Paul could go in there as the vice president and lead massive, massive reform and have the whole like economic, big government oversight that he has always had as his vision. And the guy who's not running for a second term, what's he going to do? Why would he care? Why would he care? You want to cut stuff? Cut stuff. If you want to have demands about what Congress needs, if it's a Republican Congress, what they need to do in order for you to sign it. I mean, imagine Rand Paul being in charge of what those demands are.
Yeah.
Would that make massive change to the way we function? I think it's probably the most impactful change that we could have. I think the only way Rand Paul could get away with it is as a VP to Trump, who wouldn't be running again. And then we would have to see if Rand Paul knows what he's talking about after it gets put into play. I also just don't think that's ever going to happen. But it's a very interesting political mental exercise.
Yeah. It would be a very slash and burn type of approach. He would strangle those on the side.
Lauren on Facebook says, Annie, libertarianism offers a more just exercise of government. You heralded DeSantis's heavy hand with Disney, but you cry out against Pritzker, who does the same heavy-handedness, but from the other side. That's absolutely not an accurate comparison because the actions that Ron DeSantis took towards Disney, first of all, watching Ron DeSantis react to Bob Chapek and Disney's pressure against the legislature, saying that they were going to take an active participation in making sure that a bill got repealed. That was Disney stepping into government and saying they were going to use the power of their massive company to influence what the legislature was doing. That's different. Disney reacted. And if you check the tape, you'll notice that I said the dissemination of Reedy Creek, the special tax district, I questioned if that was the right move. I also don't think that it's going to stay in principle the way it is. I think Bob Iger is going to try to do some politicking and finagle a better deal for Disney, and Florida will probably, Ron DeSantis will probably figure out a way to exit that in a way that he feels good about. People on the left will say he lost. People on the right will say he won. so on and so forth. But Ron DeSantis's actions towards Disney were reactions. J.B. Pritzker has a state of Illinois in like, what is it, Brad? They're like 34th or 35th consecutive emergency order. We're still in an emergency order for COVID.
Yeah. He actually just re-upped it again.
If there is a way for him to crawl inside the Bill of Rights and pick apart your constitutional rights that are God-given, J.B. Pritzker, speaking of a pig rolling around in the mud and liking it, that would be J.B. Pritzker. He is trying around every single corner to infiltrate the private lives of Illinois citizens, which is evident by all of them saying, bye, we're going elsewhere. Like literally anywhere else. It's not the same. But I do agree with you, Lauren. Libertarianism in principle does offer a more just exercise of government.
Yeah. And I would also say that we need the heavy-handedness of a Ron DeSantis to bring us back to that place where we could get back to doing the limited government that we need, because right now the government has so much power.
Are they the same? Are DeSantis and Pritzker's two sides of the same coin?
Similar, but I would say, yeah, they're very, very similar as far as this being on the same coin. But I don't think that DeSantis has any designs on being the ruler. He's just like, let the people do their thing. And if you don't let the people do their thing, I will use my power as government to stop you from letting the people do the thing. So
J.B. Pritzker is regulating the individual lives of citizens in his state.
Yeah.
That does not seem to me to be what DeSantis is doing.
Yeah, right. DeSantis is targeting companies and institutions to defend the rights, and J.B. Pritzker is targeting the rights.
Let's assess who is out there fighting big business for the little guy and who's out there using big government to attack the little guy. There's your difference. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, a little more conversation on the latest news headlines of the day. In today's YouTube live chat poll, we've done something like this multiple times over the last year or two, but I need to know what your thoughts are today in the middle of January. January is almost over, folks. Christmas is almost right around the corner. YouTube live chat poll, the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Will Joe Biden finish his first term? You have three choices today. No, he won't finish it. Yes, he will finish it. Or the third, yes, and he's going to run again. Go vote on the YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Hannah highlights them at the 2:45 segment at the end of the show. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose: to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
The Kansas City Police Department has issued an Amber Alert for a child abduction that occurred at 408 North Belmont Boulevard, Kansas City, Missouri on January 18, 2023 at 9:14 a.m. Abducted was Melanie Avery, black, female, age 5 months. Suspect vehicle is a white 2005 Acura sedan, 4-door. Vehicle has a sunroof, missing front bumper, and the license is unknown. Suspect is Markel Avery, a black, male, 21, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 150 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Last seen wearing a jean jacket. Victim Melanie Avery. Last seen wearing a white tank top, pink shorts, and a pink blanket. Armed suspect took child by force. Please call 911 or Kansas City Police Department at 816-234-0000. 5150 if you have any information pertaining to this alert.
If your New Year's resolution is to finally get the bath or shower of your dreams, Bath Fitter of St. Louis makes that process really easy. Mark Cox here for my friends at Bath Fitter. In just one day with no demolition or mess, they can install a new bathtub or shower for you. Right now, you can get 20% off up to $1,000 or 5 years of no interest financing and a lifetime guarantee. Call them at 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. And tell them Mark Cox sent you.
RulerFoods.com is the website. I think I'm going to hit up Ruler Foods in Collinsville this evening after basketball practice to pick up our weekly kind of shopping hit where you get the basic staples because you save so much money when you shop at Ruler Foods. That grocery budget needs a little bit of relief. Maybe you haven't gone to Ruler Foods yet. I want you to find the one that's closest to you, rulerfoods.com, and go give them a try. Check out and price compare some of the things that you normally buy at your grocery store or at your big box store and see how they can save. Let's talk about what's for sale right now. Blueberry pints, blackberry 6 ounces, or raspberry 6 ounces, $1.67 each. Tyson chicken breasts or tenders, $2.49 a pound. Kroger ground beef, 73% lean, $2.49 a pound, and it's sold in a 3-pound roll. You can also get great deals on Valentine's Day items. Shop at the Ruler Foods near you. Go through the store, take it in, and understand how much you can save buying those Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. RulerFoods.com.
If you need to sell your home to buy a new home, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty on your side, fighting for every dollar for you. Check out thegelmanteam.com. That's thegelmanteam.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Make the switch to green soaps and personal products and green cleaning products for the sink and shower. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Starting your morning in the right direction.
I listen to you every morning.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
My husband and I both work for a living, and it's really hard to watch the news, so thank you.
Weekdays from 5 to 9.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you so much for what you do.
On 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I wish it was cool in me, but so far has not been good. It's been shitty, and I feel awkward as I should. This club has got to be the most pretentious thing since I thought of you and me. Well, I am imagining a dark lit place or your place on my place.
One thing I said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector. Why would we ever give him a security clearance in the secrets to America? So I will not allow him to be on Intel. You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel committee either. And you look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs.
So that was Kevin McCarthy's comments about those individuals who are going to be pulled off, or who are pulled off the committees, I should say, now that the Republicans have the majority. And I'm looking at just the procedural things that are taking place in the House Republican majority, and also comparing it to the actions that they've taken already. We just did a story. We read you the story about Matt Gaetz, who just today initiated a bill to abolish the ATF. Brad seconds that.
Hear.
At the same time, we were watching the Biden documents scandal of sorts begin to pick up a little steam. And what I'm noticing is more people asking questions specifically about Karine Jean-Pierre, because she is the mouthpiece of the administration. She is the one who is supposed to speak on behalf of the administration, not necessarily on the president and his personal legal concerns, but she should have to answer the questions that the American public wants to have answered through the press. And it's always kind of interesting to see people outside of Peter Doocy asking questions like, so about that. And she has been able to sidestep so many questions about so many different things, and she's really gotten away with it. She's incredibly, again, we said this yesterday, I repeat it again today. She is either the worst person to ever do the job or the best person to ever do the job.
Why not both?
Maybe both. And if she's the worst person to ever do the job, and those individuals in the press corps are fine with it, shame on them. Because if she is not going to do her job and answer the questions of the American and broader, it's not just American press that's in there. If they're not going to answer those questions, then that needs to become a lead story. It would be a huge story, right, Brad? I mean, to look at how she never provides really any actual information, as talking points on a page in a binder that she flips to. Someone asks her a question, she goes to the tab or whatever of that, and then she reads something off the page, and then she just repeats herself. There's no conversation.
Or she refuses to talk anymore about a subject. So they've been asking her a lot about the different documents and whatnot, and she's like, I'm not saying any more on this. And it's like, you're the voice of the president of the United States, and the media ideally are the voice of the people of the United States. And you can't just go, I'm not going to talk to you anymore about this because I don't want to talk about it. That's terrible.
If the American people want answers, then the media, that's why the free press is important, which is very much so rooted in the First Amendment, which is still important. In case you haven't been keeping up, it is still very, very important. Let's listen to a CNN legal analyst.
That's the difference between the Biden case and the Trump case. Biden has been cooperative from the beginning and continues to try to cooperate. There's been some questions, legitimate questions about the PR angle of it. But in terms of the law, they've handled it by the book. And they'll continue to do that, I think.
Scooter says that Sean Spicer was a pretty bad secretary. Remember Scaramucci? There have been bad ones. The bar can be set incredibly low based on who's the worst. They were not good.
No, they weren't good. And I feel like the biggest issue with Sean Spicer was people didn't like how combative he was with the press. And Scaramucci was like that at the very beginning too. He was very combative for 3 days, and then he wasn't the press secretary anymore.
CNN says in terms of the law that President Biden handled classified documents discovery by the book. What about the fact that he had them? Was that by the book? I don't think that was by the book. Congressman Waltz.
An FBI raid, isn't that a little premature? I mean, the FBI didn't go in to execute that search warrant with President Trump until 16 months. They've been waiting for him to turn over the documents. It's only been 2 months for Biden so far. So why would you want the FBI to go in?
Well, your math is interesting there, Allison, because by my math, it's been 5 years that these documents have been sitting there. And so if, the White House's rendition of kind of events here is correct, that we've done the right thing, we've told the National Archives, we've told the Department of Justice, why didn't they tell and do the right thing 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago? And then once
they say they just discovered it.
So this is something I'm going to talk to Andy McCarthy about on our show here in about an hour, less than an hour, 1:25. Andy McCarthy, who is a contributing editor at National Review and a legal analyst, former chief assistant U.S. attorney. I'm going to talk to him about the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago and the absence in total of the FBI at Joe Biden's house. I don't have a dog in this fight. I look at what they did to Donald Trump's house when they thought that he had documents there. He did have documents in question. His argument is they're unclassified because I unclassify them. Played the president card, as he should as the former president. Was that the right way to do it? Was sending private lawyers of Joe Biden's into Joe Biden's private residence to go through these things who don't have top secret clearance, was that the right way to do it? Are they both the right way to do it? Because their circumstances are different. I don't know the answer to that question. Andy McCarthy will have certainly an opinion on it, and we will get that from him at 125. I don't know that it's, I struggle with this. I don't know that it's actually possible for me to cover these stories for the substance that is there, because I'm trying so hard. For the substance of each individual story, I do think that you have to talk about one and the other. I think that you have to look at the two, but there are two issues here. One is the legality of having these documents inside these homes. Separate stories, but is it legal for Joe Biden to have them there? Is it legal for Donald Trump to have them there? That's one conversation. But the second conversation, which to me, assuming that there are no nuclear codes hidden in there or anything that is actually going to be damning to the protection of the safety, the security, and the sovereignty of the United States of America, we cannot continue to handle people who have political differences. We cannot continue to treat them differently under the law. It is bumper sticker material for the Democratic Party. No one is above the law. That phrase has been uttered over and over and over again by everybody in the Democratic Party, the pundits who speak on cable news. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. It was the top of the talking points memos for the Democrats who were impeaching Donald Trump multiple times, who want to, use that as a way through the January 6th investigations to go after anybody who is in Trump's orbit. No one is above the law. I agree with that statement. I think they are right in that. But apparently we have to go even one step further backwards behind that idea that the law applies the same to everyone. We have to determine what the heck the law actually is. Because it is incredibly obvious in this country that the investigative departments and the law protecting departments that exist in our federal government, potentially even further out, that they treat people differently based on political iteration.
Do you think that the reason that we struggle so hard with, like you said, nobody's above the law, but it sure feels like nobody's above the law. Do you think that one of the reasons that we struggle so much with this is that it would require an admission that maybe the United States doesn't meet the ideals of what we think the United States should be? The phrase that sort of thing doesn't happen in the United States. And so,
like a two-tier justice system?
Right. That doesn't happen in the United States.
Like kangaroo courts and all that type of stuff.
That doesn't happen in the United States. But then it happens, and you can't enforce those laws. Like, the president wouldn't steal classified documents. The president wouldn't put the national security in jeopardy for his own personal gain. That wouldn't happen.
If you ask hyper-politically involved people on both sides of the aisle,
right.
If you asked hyper-politically involved, and I don't say that I'm hyper-politically involved, you are. Most people listening to the show right now are, except for I'm talking to the three of you sitting in the cubicle at the office where your boss loves the station and you hate it. I see you. I feel for you. I'm sorry. When it comes to all the people on the, not far left, but just the super invested people, they would look at Donald Trump and go, absolutely he would. Are you kidding me, Brad? You think that Donald Trump wouldn't take a few things on the side that thought he could benefit from? Of course Donald Trump would. And then you go to the Republicans and they'd say the same thing about Joe Biden. And honestly, I sympathize with both sides because based on the media coverage and the separation of party-centric media coverage that we have on both sides of the aisle, I get why they both think that.
Yeah. I guess what I'm getting at is like, do we look at this and say that sort of thing doesn't happen in the United States as kind of like for the not hyper-partisan people, but for the people in the middle? That sort of thing doesn't happen in the United States. And the thought of actually having to prosecute a sitting president is something so unthinkable because we would have to admit that maybe the United States isn't this perfect country where these sort of banana republic sort of things don't happen.
And I would go a step further in what you just said. Should there be a prosecutable case that the president did do something that required that, it would be the most American thing you could do.
It would have to be. Because you would have to say, again, like we were saying, that sort of thing doesn't happen in the United States. But if it does, this is what happens to you. And that has to be made an example.
In other news, hopefully completely separate news, let's talk to Ryan Wiggins about surviving a nuclear attack when we come back. What do you think?
I mean, like, if this is a direct hit.
Completely non sequitur.
Yeah.
I think the answer is no.
Yeah, not if it's a direct hit.
It's going to be a really quick segment. On the YouTube live chat poll, go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Would you vote? Make today the first day that you vote. We want to know what you think. Say hello in the comments or don't, but give us your thoughts on this poll, this question. Will Joe Biden finish his first term? Your three options are no, yes, or yes, and he's running again. Annie Frey YouTube channel. Ryan Wiggins in the studio when we come back.
This club will hopefully be closed in 3 weeks. That would be cool.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
I am excited to always be able to talk to you about local St. Louis companies like Roadmap Technologies. Roadmap helps people across the country, but they're looking to help you right now with your IT services. You're not an IT expert. It's time you stop pretending to be, because that cost can be big if you encounter something that's bigger than your Googled expertise. I know all about these types of things when it comes to letting go of the responsibility and the burden of thinking you got to do it all yourself. You're operating a small business. You're trying to save money wherever you can. You can't afford to hire your own IT person. That's why you go to Roadmap Technologies. They are experts at discovering hidden hardware and software costs. That is what Roadmap Technologies accomplishes every day with their clients. So maybe you're paying fees you don't even need to pay. I mean, think about what you've invested so far in protecting your intellectual property, your systems to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Make sure you have the right licensure to run everything that you are doing. Roadmap Technologies is there to help you, and they're a local business, a veteran-owned business, and they would like to earn your business. 314-222-0057, 314-222-0057. Call and tell them the Annie Frey Show sent you. The website, roadmaptech.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis is designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right, seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, and Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children that they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
Mark Reardon sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Maholtred Ophthalmology Associates. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. That's youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Celebrating 22 years as St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Thanks for being a part of it. This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Never been worse than it is right now. I think we're in the greatest danger ever of a nuclear war. I would have never thought that would have happened. We're in the greatest danger of a nuclear war where it's just in great danger.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! That is President Trump talking back in May in the midst of the height of the Russian aggression against Ukraine, talking about the threat of nuclear war. And
May of 21?
May of 22.
What year is it?
It's 23. It is 2023.
Is it?
What year is it?
I thought last year was 2021.
This is new research from the University of Nicosia in Cyprus. They created a computer model of the impacts of a 750 kiloton rated warhead detonated above a typical city or close to a typical city. And I want to walk through with you guys whether you would be able to survive such a warhead if it were to hit, for instance, St. Louis. Now,
not if we're here.
Right? As of right now, the answer is no.
Negative.
If you are downtown, the explosion would completely vaporize you instantly. You wouldn't have to answer any of these questions or even finish this show.
Perfect.
If you were caught within the initial fireball, you're done.
Fireball.
Now, the question is...
A little pitball reference. No.
Oh.
Is that what you're talking about?
I was talking about the song, yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
What else is there?
I could tell the way you said it. Fireball.
Fireball.
Dun, dun.
So this is going to focus on whether you're within the 3-mile radius of that bomb, though. So you're not one of the initial incinerated people. You are within 3 miles. You have 10 seconds to figure out what to do. So this bomb has dropped. It is either about to hit or has hit.
Going to meet Jesus. That's what I'm deciding.
You have roughly 10 seconds where you have not been incinerated. You are not on fire, but this thing is coming. Do you, at that moment, this is a split-second decision. Do you stay outside?
No.
Do you stay in your car because you might be on your commute? Or do you go inside the nearest building you can get to?
You go to the most internal. You put as many layers between you and the blast as you possibly can.
Ding, ding, ding. You have survived. It's question number 1.
So I was just going to unzip my jacket and give a little boys to men action.
Get a nice tan.
As it finished me off.
Well, yeah, you're done. Because if you're outside, the winds from the shockwave would be strong enough to kill or maim
Blow you
basically
away.
everybody.
Knock your socks off.
And even knock down some flimsier buildings. So the second question is, you're inside. Do you go to the basement or another room?
Basement.
Ding, ding, ding. You've survived again. But here's the question, because I think those are sort of the obvious ones. You don't have a basement. Let's say you've run inside a building that does not have a basement. Do you run into a small room like a bathroom or a closet, a doorway, a hallway, or a big empty room with no windows?
You want the least amount of exposure and, permeation for fallout as possible. So I think it would depend on what that looks like in your house or wherever you are.
Well, you're going to stay away from the windows. We know that.
Windows, yeah, they're going to be windows.
So you're away from the windows, but are you going?
Windows are called holes.
Are you going, exactly? Are you going in the bathroom? Because you just said you're going to go to the bathroom.
Does the bathroom have windows?
No, it does not. Your bathroom or your closet's not going to have windows. So
The
you're saying
water's
you're
going
going
to be
there.
tainted. You don't.
Yeah.
Incorrect. You don't want to go into a small space in that 10 seconds because the winds of force are so strong that they're going to blow through those small spaces the worst and the hallways. You want to go into a big empty room with no windows.
Like a basement.
Like a basement. If you can get in
So
the
that way the
basement, that's
house
the best
falls on
place
you.
to go. Last question.
I'm sticking with the Boys to Men move. I'd rather Boys to Men it than just get crushed by my house.
Let that be somebody's final impression of you.
Once it hits, are you going to, let's say you're in a low quality shelter. If you're in a basement, you stay. But if you're in a not a great place, how long do you think you have to run to a good place?
What do you mean? You got to stay there.
The radiation.
You got to stay there for a long
You're
time.
going to stay in the basement as long as you can. But if you're in a bad spot
And you had to find
you had to
somewhere
find a
better?
good place, how long would you want to be outside?
I think you only have
None.
minutes.
You got minutes. You got 5 minutes to find good shelter.
Are we breaking now?
Honestly?
All right.
Okay.
Nope. Honestly, we can't tell you. Let's talk to Deroy Murdock when we come back.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsized, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
If you're looking to purchase a home and you haven't found the one on the market that really suits your needs, CA Jones, CAJonesInc.com on their website has brand new homes available for purchase right now. And oh my gosh, they're stunningly beautiful. Their layouts are so smart and accommodating, great spaces of different sizes and different shapes. CAJonesInc.com. Go to the website right now and peruse their availability on homes, brand new homes for you to purchase. They have Energy Star certified houses. They care very deeply about making those builds as energy efficient as they possibly can. This is going to save you energy costs for the lifetime you spend in those homes. They care about that. They also provide a 10-year builder limited warranty, a lifetime waterproof basement warranty. If you want to have confidence in the home that you're buying, you go with CA Jones. Reach out to them to start your build plans today or to check out their inventory. CAJonesInc.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's St. Louis area attorneys. 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Town and Country, Missouri, 63017. Online at CordellCordell.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
China, Russia, and crypto.
I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Justice Department says it's disrupting the ability of criminals to launder money by busting the head of a cryptocurrency exchange based in China.
The FBI says they arrested Russian national Anatoly Lagodimov in Miami. DOJ says he ran the Bitslato crypto exchange registered in Hong Kong and allowed mostly dark web criminals to turn their illicit crypto funds into actual money. This was popular with those using Hydra, which up until last year when federal law enforcement shut it down, was, according to Deputy AG Lisa Monaco, the biggest darknet marketplace.
Sellers of these illegal goods and services at Hydra sent criminal proceeds to accounts at Bitslato, all to the tune of over $700 million.
The Treasury Department says Bitslato has been a prime money launderer for Russian illicit finance, specifically for crypto obtained through ransomware attacks.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The U.S. Supreme Court is refusing to block new gun restrictions in New York State for now, turning away a challenge by a group of firearms dealers while their appeal of a lower court's decision continues. Some of the laws regulating gun purchases were passed after the Supreme Court struck down new limits on carrying concealed handguns in New York. A legal fight begins over the new gun law in Illinois.
Two separate lawsuits are filed with an emergency hearing set for today over Illinois' new gun crackdown that was signed into law by Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker that in part bans over 100 types of semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, and pistols in large capacity magazines that supporters say will save lives, that gun rights advocates call a violation of the Second Amendment, and that'll hurt businesses.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. More than 70 sheriff's offices and state's attorneys in Illinois have said they'll ignore the new law. President Biden offering condolences after a deadly helicopter crash in Ukraine that damaged a kindergarten and killed the country's interior minister. It remains under investigation. America's listening to Fox News.
If you have certain chronic conditions such as heart disease, asthma, diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older, 52, 36, 42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Gloomy and wet for any afternoon plans. Periods of rain. Could be a rumble of thunder, a flash of lightning. Kind of windy. 49 for the high. Tonight, any rain shuts down early evening. Clearing skies, but it stays windy all night long. 40 degrees. Still windy on Thursday. Partly sunny and a chilly 45. Friday, sunny and 42. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
For every season and every day, we've got you covered with Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather, and Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray on 97.1 FM Talk, your home for conservative talk.
So have you made your appointment yet to join us at the Retirement Advisory Group Protecting Your Retirement educational event? I hope so. But for those who haven't, it's time to hurry up and get scheduled. Thomas Helbig is going to be in here in about 40 minutes or so to talk about this event. And I'm going to be there. Mark Cox is going to be there. Mark Reardon is going to be there. It's Tuesday, January 24th at the Frontenac Hilton. I would love to meet you. I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock. The event starts at 6:30, and you sit and you listen to what he has to say about protecting your retirement, making it worry-free, making sure that all of the sacrifice, the time, the effort that you've put into setting aside funds to have the retirement of your dreams, that it's going to be there. And in these uncertain economic times, you need people on your side who are there to advocate for you and to help you. They've never had a client lose a penny, but you do need to reserve your place. I'll be there at 6. The event starts at 6:30. I would love to meet you. Please sign up. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you do by calling 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Tuesday, January 24th at the Frontenac Hilton. Go to retirementkey.com.
Need to sell your home, but not willing to play the wait and see game? Hey, it's Mark Cox here for Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. With Gloria, you have options, including a no obligation cash offer from one of Gloria Lou's cash buyers. It's simple, it's straightforward, and in many cases, you can receive a cash offer in less than 24 hours. And you can even pick the closing date. With Gloria Lou and her cash offer program, you're always in control. Not ready for a cash offer? No problem. Gloria has a guaranteed sold program that states Gloria will sell your home at the agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it guaranteed in writing. Call her today and ask about her no obligation cash offer program at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on price and possession date.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars. Lose the weight and stop smoking. Only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suite St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not a married sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey
One thing
Show.
I said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector. Why would we ever give him a security clearance in the secrets to America? So I will not allow him to be on Intel. You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel committee either. And you look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs.
So that was November 20th when Kevin McCarthy was making the statement. The Republicans had just secured the majority in the House, and we knew what was going to come of a drastic change in leadership. But what were the details? Kevin McCarthy said these people aren't going to be on committees. And now we're kind of seeing some of the reaction to it. Somebody else who's following it, our friend Deroy Murdock. He's a nationally syndicated columnist, a Fox News contributor as well. Deroy, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show.
Annie, it's great to be with you again.
So are you maybe enjoying a little bit watching Adam Schiff writhe in detesting of the Republican majority? That whole turnabout's fair play thing, he doesn't fare too well with that.
Not so well. Yeah, it's good to see him on the sort of the downhill end of shall we say, the mud. So that's pleasant. And he and Swalwell and Congresswoman Omar basically would not be in this position, I don't think, if Nancy Pelosi didn't start this whole thing 2 years ago when she decided to break 200 plus years of precedent where the majority let the minority pick its own members for committees. And she decided, well, we don't want to have Marjorie Taylor Greene and Congressman Gosar of Arizona, Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia on certain committees. And so she yanked them off their committee assignments and then removed Jim Jordan of Ohio and Jim Banks of Indiana from the January 6th committee because I guess she didn't want a bunch of difficult questions to be asked. She wanted just a rubber stamp type of operation. And so she violated this idea that the majority lets the minority pick its members. And now that that precedent's gone, well, surprise, surprise, as you say, turnabout's fair play. You now have a Republican speaker rather than Democrat speaker. And now he's deciding that he doesn't want certain Democrats on committees and they'll just have to sit there and take it.
So, Deroy, we were discussing this a little bit earlier in the show, and I feel like if you feel like this is just vengeful and you're just, the tit for tat thing, the alternative to this, the majority shifts, and then you do what the other side did, you give it right back to them. The alternative is you straighten your tie, you do the air quotes right upstanding thing, and you carry on without slapping them back for slapping you first. That tends to be what the Republicans have done in the past. It seems to be a little bit of a departure to give them a dose of their own medicine right back. I don't know that there's an end to this slap fest. But at the same time, I think a lot of Republican voters are very tired of watching the Republicans step in, try to do something that seems like the right upstanding thing just to get slapped back right again when the Democrats retake the majority.
I think you're absolutely right about that. You can call it, or somebody else can call it tit for tat or vengeance, whatever it is. I just call it fairness. And look, until the Democrats actually start to feel the kind of pain that they inflict on us, they're going to keep doing this sort of nonsense. So if they don't like getting taken off committees, they need to stop doing this to us. If they're not, if they want to see the next president, a Democrat president or former president, have his house raided, and it happens for Republicans in office when it takes place, they'll say, look, you raided Mar-a-Lago, so what'd you expect? Nothing like that ever had happened from George Washington all the way up until August of last year. And they decided, okay, let's go, rather than negotiate with lawyers, which is how you normally do this sort of thing, over documents, hey, let's have a raid and send 30 FBI agents in along with the cameras and rifle through former President Trump's papers, through Melania's intimate garments, through their son Barron's room and all of his possessions. Well, if this sort of thing happens to a Democrat president, don't be surprised. So we really need to stop this nonsense, sort of turn the other cheek and be nice, because the Democrats don't turn nice. What they do is they put on the brass knuckles and pound us in our faces even harder. And the way to get the bullies to stop is to give them, as you say, a dose of their own medicine, or as I put it, a dose of their own poison.
Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor Deroy Murdock with us. I'm curious what you think about the progress that has been made by this House majority, these Republicans, so far. It was a very dramatic start to this 118th Congress. I think they stuck the landing on it, but they've engaged in some action so forth, introducing of bills and so on. What do you think about it so far?
Yeah, I think so far so good. I mean, the first week was quite contentious with that whole speaker's battle, but what came out of that at the end was a rules package that basically settled a lot of the disputes that the Republicans had internally, with requirements for things like a vote on term limits, a vote on a balanced budget, strict spending caps, an increase in the amount of votes required in order to raise taxes from just a majority up to 60% of the Congress, I think it is, 3/5 majority. And all of these things will make it impossible for a lot of bad stuff to happen. So what they've done is sort of in advance settle a lot of disputes they might have had later. And then they've had some concrete votes. I think two of the most dramatic were last week, where they had a measure that said if a baby survives an abortion and is born alive, this doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does happen, it is an American citizen, it's a person that needs to be protected by the law and given medical treatment. Well, guess what? All the Republicans voted for that, and one Democrat voted for it, and all the other Democrats voted that such a baby should die. Unbelievable. Absolutely astonishing. And then they had a vote basically condemning attacks on pro-life centers, pro-life churches, and these violent attacks that have taken place on the part of radical pro-abortion terrorists, basically. And the Republicans voted for that condemnation. And guess what? The Democrats all voted not to condemn those acts of domestic terrorism. So at least in those two cases, what the Republicans have done is give the Democrats an opportunity to show that they are somewhat reasonable on abortion, at least a little bit. And guess what? They prove the opposite. These are total, not just abortion extremists, but people actually look the other way, or maybe quietly hold up their, hold thumbs up when people engage in violent extremism in the name of defending abortion.
Yeah, I think that the votes that these Republicans are putting Democrats on record, especially these extreme versions that the Democrat Party as a whole can't seem to get behind. It's important for the American people to know where both sides of the aisle stand on these individual topics. And I look at the American people. Where are the American people in all of this? Because the Republicans in the House are getting back at the Democrats. The Democrats have used their power to get back at the Republicans. That goes back and forth. Do you feel like the American people are represented in what's going on in the House right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the concrete action they're going to take, I mean, I don't know if too many members of the American public, are terribly concerned or interested in what the rules are, the rules of the House. But in terms of what they're trying to do, in terms of trying to put a limit on our spending, not continue to spend money that either we have to borrow from the Chinese or we just have the Fed invent out of thin air, putting a stop to that, getting some control of this massive deficit spending and increase the national debt I think the American people want to see some version of fiscal restraint or fiscal responsibility. I've not seen anything like that at all lately. They just started this new committee on China, which is terrific. I think we will have somebody, an entire panel of the U.S. House looking at the expansionist and incredibly mischievous and frankly deadly and genocidal behavior of the Chinese Communist Party. And that will be publicized, and people in the Biden administration who may have covered up the Chinese Communist Party's responsibility for COVID-19. If that's happened, that's going to come out in public. I think that's something that very much concerns American people, and I think we're going to get action on that over the next 2 years, if not thereafter, for the GOP continues to control the House after 2024.
We're speaking with Deroy Murdock right now. You see him on Fox News, and he's a nationally syndicated columnist as well. Do you feel like when you're speaking about China and knowing that was a bipartisan bill that went through with support with Democrats as well, do you feel like that is a lead issue going into 2024 as we see the political parties start to coalesce around potential presidential nominees, be it Joe Biden or not for the left? Donald Trump obviously announced no of other candidates who may get in on the Republican side. I want to know more about what you think the issues are going to be that matter to the American people, more so than the man or the woman who will be running.
Well, I think a lot of it will be, as always is, about the economy. If we have inflation under control in a couple of years, that won't be such a huge matter. But even though inflation has come down, people are still concerned about the high price of food, that gasoline is higher than it was when Joe Biden came to power just under 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think Friday is when that second anniversary will take place. I think the situation on the border is going to be a very, very high matter and a deep concern. I mean, the idea of a border, I put it in quotes, because we have no southern border. We have just sort of an imaginary line that you can see in maps in terms of an actual border that stops people. It's wide open. You've had some 5 million people come into this country over the last couple of years. Who's going to pay for their health care? Who's going to pay for their kids' education? Some of these people are here to work hard. Some of these people are here, criminals are here to hurt us and rob us and create all sorts of pandemonium in the United States. Fire trucks are going by. Who knows if illegal aliens started those fires or somebody else did? This is just bedlam, the kind of chaos that you would imagine to see just in wartime, and we're suffering that in peacetime here in the U.S. Crime, we've got this out of control crime situation. Homicides up, carjackings up, assaults and robberies up all over the place. And in many cities, prosecutors are not interested in locking up criminals. They want to get them back on the streets so they can return to their criminal careers with all deliberate speed. I think that's going to remain a very serious issue in 2024, as it should be.
Yeah, Deroy, when you're talking about the crime in New York City, where you're located, I'm sitting in St. Louis, Missouri right now. We're regularly the murder capital of the world. New Orleans took that burden off of us for the time being. And the mayor of New Orleans, when that was announced, she wanted them to redo the numbers to include certain things so they wouldn't be the murder capital. Does that stop a single murder from happening? Of course it doesn't. But you see the political motivation when you see crime going up is to give second, third, and fourth chances to people who are, in their minds, marginalized. You're essentially creating room to destroy for criminals who have a reason for being a criminal. And lost in all of it are the true victims of these crimes. Until we start defining good guys and bad guys once again, I don't know that any of this crime goes away.
Well, it's even worse than that. I believe the Washington, D.C. City Council just decreased the penalties for carjacking. Why would you do such a thing? Especially when carjackings are increasing year after year. I believe the last 5 years, each year is an increase in carjacking. You think they'd say, all right, well, this is serious. We need to fight this. And if you engage in carjacking, you're going to spend more time in jail. No, they said you'll spend less time in jail. So what does that tell the carjackers? Hey, keep up the good work. I mean, it's astonishing, and people sometimes get killed in carjackings. I mean, bad enough you get your car stolen. Some people end up getting either shot or stabbed in the process, or they, try to hold onto their cars. They get dragged behind them and get killed that way. And there was a case, this terrible case. These young girls stole this car, and the driver, I think, was holding on to the side. And there's a videotape of it. They go around the corner, they flip the car, and they kill the driver as he's hanging onto the side of the car. And they got some pretty light sentences, I recall. And so you don't increase the penalties, you make them lighter, and you send a message to people. Carjacking's cool, keep it up. I shake my head thinking, what are these people doing? They must want chaos and pandemonium. That must be part of the process, not a part of the intention, not just an unfortunate side effect.
Yeah. Deroy, I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but in 2012, I was carjacked in St. Louis at a gas station at 4:15 in the afternoon. I was 7.5 months pregnant at the time. And, two men pulled on the other side of the gas pump from me and got in my car and drove away with it. And I spent about 10 seconds yelling at him to try to get out of my car and realize what was I doing, being stupid for even doing that. But when in the middle of the day, there was a St. Louis Cardinals game. It just let out, a day game. There are people everywhere. They're so emboldened. And after it happened, and I was working with the detectives here in St. Louis, they're all great detectives, very kind. But it was made very clear to me that there is so much crime taking place in the city in 2012, even, that it just wasn't, it could not raise itself to the priority to find my car or to find my things, that nobody was murdered or killed or injured in the incident. It was just my car. It was just the thing. And it's just not a priority because crime is so rampant. And that was over 10 years ago. You're so right when it comes to that story. It was horrific to go through. And, all things considered, I fared pretty well from it. You're so spot on.
And it was treated just as, just a part of urban life,
Yes.
That's amazing. And we right now in this country, I think about 50% of our homicides, not carjackings, 50% of our homicides are not solved. Yeah. So basically, we want to kill somebody. At the moment, there's a 50-50 chance to get away with it.
That's unbelievable.
And yet we've got people talking about equity and pronouns and gender. And the shalom is a bad word. Aloha you can't use unless you're Hawaiian. And we have so many people, Democrats in particular, focused on sideshows and nonsense. We have carjackings shooting up and half the murders in this country not being solved. It's just, again, mind blowing. I shake my head all day long and wonder what country am I living in.
It's unbelievable. Well, Deroy, we appreciate your take on this all the time because you speak truth in a moment where it seems like everything else is loony land, and we are always grateful for you to come in here and give us that dose. We appreciate you.
Greetings from loony land. Very good.
Talk to you again next week.
Next time.
Thank you, Deroy.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye. Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor Deroy Murdock. We're going to break here for just a minute. And when we come back, Andy McCarthy is going to join us. You see him on Fox reacting. He's one of their top legal analysts that they have on a regular basis on Fox News. He's going to join us on the Annie Frey Show to react to the Biden classified document scandal. We're going to try again to delineate between what information, what documents did Trump have? What documents did Biden have? Why did the FBI raid Mar-a-Lago? Why was the FBI not even included in Car-a-Lago? TM Jesse Waters on the 5. I like Car-a-Lago, but I do feel like it's so good. He deserves some credit about it until it becomes just the way people refer to it. Andy McCarthy in a minute.
Good. I'm feeling good.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
Fish in the sea.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
River running free. You know how I feel. Blossom on a tree. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Slim 180 online at myslim180.com. They are they can help you. They are your lifeline. They are the people who can walk you from where you are mentally right now. Those 20 pounds, you think about them in the morning when you get up and you're putting your clothes on. You think about them when you walk into the bathroom and you see the scale and maybe you pass the scale because you just don't want to know what that number is. You think about them when you're trying to figure out what to eat for lunch and you're trying to make a good decision, but maybe you're going to make a bad decision for dinner. You think about those 20 pounds all the time. Maybe it's 50 pounds. Maybe it's more than 100 pounds. All of it is achievable to lose with Slim 180. You just got to start the process, though. You got to sit down for that free consultation. Slim 180 has helped me lose weight that I was struggling with exercise, trying to eat right, all of the stress that comes with a very busy lifestyle. Slim 180 gave me a plan, an achievable plan, a successful plan. I want that for you as well. Will you give them the opportunity to talk to you about how they can help you? They have plans that are going to be different for each person who comes in there. They can cater it to your goals, and you will have the support that you need to win, to succeed. It's at Slim 180. Go to myslim180.com.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 18th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 314-530-7777.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Mark Reardon Show.
John Ziegler, the co-host of the new podcast, The Death of Journalism.
So somehow we're simultaneously in a drought emergency and a flooding emergency, which can only happen in 2023 California.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Think of when we were together, like when you said you felt so happy you could die. I told myself that you were right for me.
He did call Trump careless with these documents. And I think it would go a long way for him to also say, and I was careless. And so we need to not only review these documents, we need to review the processes that are in
that too, yeah.
I think that's what's most important, right?
But shouldn't he wait to find out if he was careless?
To your point,
so when the View is suggesting that maybe the Biden situation, Car-a-Lago as it's been deemed by Jesse Waters, when the View is starting to say maybe there's room for President Biden to say that he was careless too, but Whoopi Goldberg is like, but maybe we should wait to see if he even was. At least they're questioning it. The legal minds on the View are at least raising one eyebrow, not two, one eyebrow, to the fact that maybe Joe Biden is in some legal trouble here. Now, if the legal prowess of the View is not enough to satiate your needs for what the heck is going on here, That's why we called in the big guns. Let's talk to Andy McCarthy. He's a contributing editor at National Review, a fellow at the National Review Institute, and a Fox News contributor, as well as a former chief assistant U.S. attorney. A little more accolades there than Whoopi Goldberg and the ladies on The View. Andy McCarthy, thank you so much for your time today.
Annie, my pleasure.
So the first thing that I want to ask, and I've been trying to get to the bottom of this as a non-legal expert myself, it seems as though nobody can talk about the Biden situation without talking about the Trump situation. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk to us about what actually was found at the Trump Mar-a-Lago case versus whatever it is we know about what has been discovered in these Biden classified documents.
Yeah, Annie, I know that that's like the current thing that everybody wants to do because it's the natural thing to do. It would be crazy if we didn't compare these two cases. But I have been trying to argue to people that I don't think at this point that's a very enlightening exercise, only because, the Trump search warrant happened in August. And there was some reporting before then that there was back and forth between Trump and the government over returning, presidential documents and the concern that there might be classified documents there. So, but because that happened in August and there's been a ton of litigation about it since then, we know a lot about it. Whereas, the Biden thing, comparatively speaking, happened 5 minutes ago and it's still unfolding, and every day we're learning new facts. So I think it's too early to say exactly how they stack up. I know people want to say that, the Trump thing is much more serious than the Biden thing. I'm here to tell you, as a prosecutor, you would look at this as differences in degree and differences in kind. And the reason I make that distinction is whenever two people, even two people in the same conspiracy, but especially in different cases, whenever two people violate the same federal law, criminal law, there are always going to be differences in details and culpability between the two. But the first order question is, are they both guilty of the crime? And that does not involve a comparison between two people's behavior, because guilt is personal. So, the statute says, here's what you have to do to violate the statute. If your conduct violates the statute, then you're guilty. It doesn't matter if another person is more guilty or less guilty. That goes to sentencing. That doesn't go to guilt. And then the second thing is, to my mind, if I were a Justice Department prosecutor building a case on Trump or trying to, the relevant precedent would not be Biden, it would be Hillary Clinton, because she had an egregious violation which the Justice Department decided not to prosecute her for. So if you're trying to build a case on Trump, you have to come up with why he is so uniquely awful that he rates being indicted when she didn't get indicted. And no matter what you think of Trump, I think as a prosecutor building that case, you'd have to say you can't afford any screw-ups. You can't have anything go wrong because you have very little margin for error trying to make that justification of Trump being prosecuted when Hillary wasn't. So I don't think they can sustain having Biden under investigation now for the same thing they're investigating Trump, regardless of which offense is more serious. The thing is, they've already let Hillary have a pass. How can they prosecute Trump if they don't prosecute Biden?
Man, I'm so happy to hear you say that, because it seems very difficult for me in a lot of the conversations I've had to get to a place where let's just talk about what's taking place in the Joe Biden classified documents situation. So I'm going to ask you that question now. Let's just focus on this Biden situation in the context of what we know, the questions that we're asking related to one specific case. I see that the White House counsel's office has said that the Wilmington residents, they've made a point to delineate the Wilmington residents as a private residence, saying this is not a place where business is taking place because it's his private residence there in Wilmington. Is that important specific to the lawyers that went to search this premises without the FBI being in tow?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is explain away a couple of things. One is, why doesn't the Secret Service have logs like they would keep at the White House for who visits Biden at his private residences? By the way, I don't buy this idea that the Secret Service doesn't have that information. I'm perfectly prepared to believe that they don't have a document they call the visitor's log. But I'm telling you right now, if ever there were a threat on the president and the FBI was investigating it, and they told the Secret Service, we need to know who was visiting the president at X time during the last 23 months, do you really think the Secret Service would tell the FBI, gee, sorry, we can't help you with that. We don't keep that information.
Great point.
That seems ridiculous to me. That wouldn't happen. But that's part of why they're stressing the private residence. The other thing is the big problem, it seems to me, that they have right now is that the FBI, as soon as this was discovered, this is a 10-year felony. This is like a serious thing, mishandling classified information. So the FBI, even if you weren't going to haul off and do a search warrant, I don't think it's unreasonable for Garland at that early stage to say we're not doing a search warrant on Biden's residences. I know people say, but they did one on Trump. Well, they did one on Trump after he was like 18 months of fighting with the government and flouting a grand jury subpoena and all that. I wouldn't blame Garland for not going to DEFCON 1 immediately with a search warrant. But there's no doubt that the FBI should have been involved in the additional searches because it's the agents who are responsible for securing classified information and for the chain of custody of any documents that might be relevant to a criminal prosecution. So for Biden to let his private lawyers do the searches rather than have the agents do it is something that I think can't be explained. And they're obviously trying to stress that this was a private residence rather than a government facility in order to make it seem like it was okay to have private lawyers do the search instead of having the FBI do it.
So, another story that I've seen kind of pulled into just a comparison as to what Joe Biden has done, and people are citing that 2016 case of a sailor, a United States Navy sailor, took photographs of some top secret areas of a nuclear submarine. Those photographs landed him in prison. Does that, is this the mishandling of documents? You said this is a 10-year crime felony. Are we talking about similar things? Because I see that news story be brought up in comparison to what Joe Biden and Donald Trump, of course, might have done with these documents.
Yeah, that's a very similar situation. And in fact, my recollection is that case came up during our arguments about Hillary Clinton in connection with the emails scandal. But I think for once, no one will ever hear me say this again, but there's a helpful report in the Washington Post from December 22nd, which collects a bunch of cases where, not high-profile celebrity government officials, but, just run-of-the-mill executive branch and military officials and contractors who happen to have security clearances who mishandle classified information by retaining it. Or holding it in a way that it wasn't supposed to be held, keeping it in unauthorized places. They collect all these cases where people got sentences of between 18 months and 10 years for these kinds of violations. Now, it seems like these celebrity people who commit the same offense, beginning with Hillary, but not only Hillary. I mean, you have Petraeus and you have John Deutsch and Hillary and Trump and now Biden. I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for the Biden Justice Department to prosecute Biden, but I think it should upset people that, low-ranking officials not only get prosecuted for this stuff. If you read the things the Justice Department says to juries or says about these cases, and you compare it to what we now know was done, for example, in Biden's case, it's the same thing. They make these arguments to juries saying that people who do what it appears that Biden did should be convicted and sent to federal prison for a significant period of time.
We're speaking with Andy McCarthy. He is a former chief assistant U.S. attorney, as well as a contributing editor at National Review, Fox News contributor also. Last question before we let you go, and we're so grateful for your time today. The questions that average Americans like myself and the people listening here in the St. Louis, Missouri area have, these questions did Joe Biden put our country at risk? Did he put our country at risk because he was incompetent, or is an unintended oversight? Was it malicious or nefarious for him to do this? And then you bring in the entire kind of circus that is Hunter Biden. And of course, Hunter Biden, his presence at his dad's private residence is not an unusual thought for people to have. Where does Andy McCarthy take his thoughts? What are the questions that you were looking to see be answered, maybe within the next few weeks or so, depending on how long this could draw out, of course?
Well, obviously, what the documents are is important. To respond to what you raised, which is clearly on people's minds, mainly because the government misrepresented what the law is during the Hillary stuff. There's no requirement to prove any intent to do harm to the United States. Classified information offense is one of the few offenses where you don't have a standard criminal law intent requirement. Like when you rob a bank, you have to prove that somebody intended to rob the bank, right? They willfully did it. With classified information offenses, you only have to prove gross negligence. And that's because people who get privileged access to classified information are trained in the way that it must be handled. And it is their agreement to handle it that way that is the condition on which they get access to it. So the law holds them responsible if they're grossly negligent. So you don't have to prove that they were trying to sell out the country to China or, what have you. Just that he was an authorized person trusted with these documents, and he didn't handle them the way that he knew they were supposed to be handled. And as for, did he damage the national security? I'll say two things. The reporting is that some of the documents, at least that were found in the first batch, were top secret, sensitive, compartmented information. Just to break that down, top secret under the government requirements, under the government rules for classified information, you can only designate something top secret, I'm quoting now, if it reasonably could be expected to cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security if it was disclosed to someone who didn't have authority to have it. So you're talking here about information in a nature that could be catastrophic if it fell into the wrong hands. Otherwise, it wouldn't be designated top secret. And sensitive compartmented information refers to information that implicates covert sources and very sensitive methods for gathering intelligence. So you put that together, it's like information, if it fell into the wrong hands, could be catastrophic for the country. And if it fell into the wrong hands, could reveal, informants who could be killed, could reveal very deep cover methods of collecting intelligence, which if we didn't have them, we would be more vulnerable to people who want to do harm to the United States. So, the simple answer to your question, just based on the way these things were designated, is if he was careless with them and they fell into the wrong hands, then it could be catastrophic for national security.
This is a serious legal issue. This is not just a political hit job, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, well, look, I think. Do you think the Biden Justice Department would? I know it. They're swallowing hard to do it, but do you think the Biden Justice Department would order a special counsel for President Biden if it wasn't serious?
I do not.
I mean, the last thing they want to do is investigate this.
Yeah. Well, Andy McCarthy, we're so grateful for your time and your expertise. And this is a story that I think is going to have some legs for some time. And we hope to be able to have you back again sometime soon to talk about it.
Thanks so much. Great to speak with you.
You as well. Andy McCarthy, a contributing editor at National Review, fellow at National Review Institute, Fox News contributor, and former chief assistant U.S. attorney. Great to have him on the show. And that is a lot of info and a lot of perspective, I would say, that is needed when it comes to these types of discussions, because I'm so sensitive to not letting politics. I mean, we can have the political conversation. Brad, when we look at this and we see, especially like on Twitter, most of that is political reaction to what's going on.
Yes.
There's a lot of good points that are made, but that's an entirely separate conversation than what was President Biden doing, and is no one above the law?
Right. It's a completely different, because the goal is different. Like what you're trying to prove and what you're trying to protect are two different things. When you're looking at what Mr. McCarthy was just talking about there, He's talking about what was the law. So your goal is to prove, was this illegal or not? And then the goal, or what you're trying to protect, is the country's national security. When you read on Twitter, the goal is to protect your party and attack the other party. And that's kind of where the wires get crossed.
A political fight.
Yep.
Yes, it's a very good point. And, you know, looking at how Andy McCarthy is explaining what the burden of proof here is, it's gross negligence. There's no intent. It's not like you can look at what he had there and say, oh, this wasn't anything that was going to harm the country. And even if it was, he had no idea it was there. And he, you know, there was no purposeful intention here to personally benefit or hurt anybody else. They just were in a box and they shouldn't have been there. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's grossly negligent. If it was in a box and it shouldn't have been there, that's negligent.
And then to go back to the political part of it and to start this conversation, or to end this conversation where we started it with Andy McCarthy. And I'm so glad he took that, like, listen, the Trump thing is the Trump thing. And then he's like, I'll see your Trump and I'll raise you a Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, that's right. And another thing. But did Donald Trump do the exact same thing? As the president of the United States, he could declassify documents. I believe that's still his argument. But I don't support President Trump being reckless with classified documents either. But if they're not classified because he declassified them and he can declassify anything, at least legally there's a different, maybe ethically we could have that political conversation, but legally it would be different.
Right.
Hillary Clinton would be in the same camp as Joe Biden, though, because only the president can do that declassification as an individual. There's going to be a lot to talk about for quite some time, and we're going to continue to cover it. And my promise to you is while we will have both the political conversation and the legal conversation, I don't want to be the person that I know you have a lot of choices out there to listen to. I know there are podcasts and radio shows and talking heads, especially at this time of day, that are going to be talking about these issues. I'm not interested in winning a political fight over the Trump versus Biden classified documents, because I don't think that even if I felt at the end of that fight that I won, that I'd really win anything. What am I winning in this? I'd like to get back to the conversation about issues and policies and why I think the Republican Party is better at them. Let's discuss that, because that's what actually affects you and me. However, if our elected officials, if our presidential candidates, nominees, the presidents, if they are so emboldened and so sloppy with the way that they're handling these documents, if people who are involved in administrations who aren't the president are sloppy in handling these documents, see what we've said here 100 times and what the Democrats say all the time. No one is above the law. Let's get to it. I'd like to have that equal justice under the law back reinstated firmly, and maybe start with the people in Washington, D.C. What do you think about that? Let's take a quick break. When we come back, some in-studio guests, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, are going to step in the studio and talk to you about an event that I'm going to be at. I can't wait to meet you at the January 24th Protecting Your Retirement educational event at the Frontenac Hilton. It's Tuesday. The event starts at 6:30. I'm going to be there from 6 to 6:30 to meet you, to say hi, but you need to reserve your spot. I'm going to tell you how to do that when we come back with Bob Kershaw and Thomas Helbig in studio here on the Annie Frey Show. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I'm Howard Mackler of GetRefunds.com. You may have heard me talk about the payroll tax refund program that gives businesses up to $26,000 for every employee they kept on payroll during COVID. But today, I'm not going to do the talking. I'm letting a real Get Refunds client tell you everything.
I'm Ray, owner of Manzi Insurance and Real Estate. I heard about the payroll tax refund and GetRefunds.com on the radio. When COVID hit my business, I scrambled to figure out how to protect our employees and customers while still being able to service our clients' needs. They got me approved for a payroll tax refund, and with that money, it allowed me to upgrade our technology to provide the means for some employees to work remote while also protecting those that return to the office. If you have a business, you should go to GetRefunds.com and start your claim today.
GetRefunds.com helped their business, and we can help yours too. Go to GetRefunds.com and see if you qualify in just 8 minutes. GetRefunds.com, powered by Innovation Refunds.
So if you're an independent contractor and you are basically your own boss, that's got a ton of really awesome benefits to it. But you want to make sure that you're covered. If you don't have an employer who's offering you coverage, that type of a benefit, you want to make sure that you have the insurance coverage that you need to protect you. Laura Michael Insurance, MICHEL, LauraMichaelInsurance.com. Check out Laura Michael for coverage for you in your commercial business as an independent contractor, also for your personal insurance. I was able to save money with Laura Michael Insurance. We are scheduling our appointment to finalize details here shortly. I didn't know who my insurance person was anymore. We kind of got passed from one person to the next as people in the agency changed over, and I wanted to go somewhere with somebody who I trusted. That's really that simple. I trust Laura Michael Insurance, and I want you to give her the opportunity to explain to you how she can take care of you, the personalized care that she's going to provide you, making sure that you are covered the way you need to be covered, but not paying for a coverage that you don't need. She gets you the right price, and she can potentially help you save money, potentially lots of money on your insurance. Reach out to her and mention the Annie Frey Show. When you do, go to her website at LauraMichaelInsurance.com.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to $900 in utility rebates and see if you qualify for 0% financing on a new high-efficiency HVAC system. For details and to get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Big ideas, real debate, solid entertainment. You found it here.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
But you got to come home with me. I got some good old loving and I got some more in store. When I get so throwing it on you, you got to come back for more. Other things that come by the dozen, I ain't nothing but drugs, no love. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle, cause the mama, I'm sure all the hand and I just around.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We just got done speaking with Andy McCarthy. That was a great conversation. A must rewind on the Odyssey app. Go to about 125 and you can hear him talking about the Biden classified documents. Now we have in-studio guests. We have Thomas Helbig. Hello, Thomas.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Annie.
Welcome back into the studio. And Bob Kershaw.
Hi, Annie. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Great to be here.
I'm going to be hanging out with you guys Tuesday, January 24th.
Yes, you will.
And you know how important this is?
Very important.
My husband's birthday is Tuesday, January 24th.
Well, happy birthday early.
And I'm going to be there with you guys.
Yes,
so
you
I
will.
want to make sure, it's on behalf of Jared's birthday. Everybody come show up. It's his 40th birthday.
Is it really?
I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock at the Frontenac Hilton from 6 to 6:30. And then I'd hand it over to you guys. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon are going to be there with me because you guys are doing another seminar to talk about how the Retirement Advisory Group, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, how you work to protect people's retirement. Thomas, what do people expect when they show up to this thing?
First, they want to learn the strategies we've been teaching for 36, going on 37 years.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. I want to read some highlights of the market last year. And this was right out of Reuters. The U.S. stock market closed out the worst year in more than a decade for global equities and bonds. The benchmark, the S&P 500, was down 20% in 2022. The NASDAQ 100 closed down 35%, shedding a third of its value last year.
So, folks, last year, the average 401k and IRA was down 27 to 30%, and that's without fees. You know how many years it will take you to gain that back?
You know, the scary thing, I'm 38 years old, and I've got time for ups and downs.
Yes, you do. You have time on your side.
You do.
If you're 55-ish,
You don't have the time.
you don't have the time. You got to take action now.
If you lose 40% of your 401k, it could take 10 to 15 years to gain that back. You don't have that time when you're near retirement.
So when you go to this event, like I said, Tuesday, January 24th, everybody now knows Jared's birthday. You have to reserve your spot. So
We're filling up fast.
Yes.
Please call or go online at retirementkey.com. We are filling up.
And this is where I always like to tell you that I like to beat the boys. And so Mark
And you
Cox,
usually do.
I usually do because we got great people here. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon are going to be there as well. I love them. They're my friends, and I can't wait for us all to be able to meet you. But reserve your spot now and get all of the Andy Frey Show listeners in the room. That's just kind of what I'm saying here. 314-993-9494 is the phone number to call to reserve that spot. Type it in your phone right now, and you can get to it here in a commercial break. 314-993-9494. Can you sign up at retirementkey.com?
Yes, you can. Go online at retirementkey.com. Here's why you don't want to miss this event. Here's the bad news, what the outlook from the analysts are saying right now. The bad news is that 2023 could be just another bumpy ride. Weaker economic trends will likely form heading into 2023 as the Fed battles inflation. And they just said today they're not ready to stop raising interest rates because the outlook is not good.
And we see what happens
and the market's
every time that
down.
they raise it.
The Dow's was down 470 points earlier. So, folks, learn the strategies why our clients have never lost a penny. We'll teach you these strategies, and you'll be positioned when the market comes back. You'll get the gains, but you will never lose a penny.
So you've got so many 97.1 clients that you've worked with so far who have signed up and have had this type of success and been able to go into that worry-free retirement because they've partnered with you.
Correct.
This Tuesday, January 24th event at the Frontenac Hilton is free. It costs you nothing to go there.
And it's fun.
And
don't we have some fun?
Yeah,
We do.
it's a great time. And you don't keep people long. I think people
45
are like,
minutes is all I talk.
and then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Free. You get to meet Mark Cox and Mark Reardon, and I get to meet you, but you do have to reserve your spot. Did you get a pretty big room this time?
Yes, we got the big room
3-1
because we're filling up.
Yes. 314-993-9494 to sign up, retirementkey.com. Last kind of pitch from you guys. What do people walk away from this free seminar saying and thinking?
I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, people feel
do.
educated and they can't wait because they know now there is another option.
There's a better way.
Yeah,
of
people
the
are-
same route they've been doing, and they won't have to worry about. A lot of people are afraid to look at their 401k statements over the last year.
Everybody says the two main things that they want to know when they retire: how much money am I going to have when I retire, and how long is it going to last me? And that's exactly what we will show you.
We'll put together a plan for them, free of charge.
Well, it's no commitment. It's free to go. They have snacks. You get to meet Mark Cox and Mark Reardon. That's pretty cool. And me, I'll be there
and
as
the one
well.
and only Annie.
That's right. 314-993-9494. Just sit down and listen, make your own decision. And I think you'll be glad you did. You can go to retirementkey.com as well. Bob and Thomas, thank you.
Thank you, Annie. And happy birthday, Jared.
Yeah, that's right. Happy 40th, Jared. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
ClosetFactory.com, man. When we were cleaning, my husband and I, our exciting long weekend. He's a teacher, so he had Monday off too. We cleaned. We are wild and crazy people. We cleaned the upstairs, and all we started doing was talking about all the different ways we want Closet Factory to come into our home and help us with customized organization, because having a place for your things is important. And the stress relief, I cannot explain to you how much stress relief I have going upstairs and having purged a ton of stuff, but also having everything in its place. And in our kids' bedrooms, they have designed, customized Closet Factory closets, shelves for storage that is custom for them. My husband and I, we have customized, we have a walk-in closet. It's not really that huge and we share it, but we have a place where his pants hang, and the storage area is for his pants. They measured his pants and they go in the pants place. Get this for yourself. You'll be so glad that you did. All the details online at closetfactory.com.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. No matter how many times you tried to quit, this hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Tragedy upon misery in Ukraine. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The cause of a deadly helicopter crash early today remains under investigation.
We stand with our friends in Ukraine in mourning their loss.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken also recommitting to help Ukraine defend itself from aggression, though at this point the crash isn't being blamed on Russia.
So far, there is no U.S. intelligence assessment of a helicopter crash in a Kyiv suburb that killed Ukraine's interior minister and a dozen other people, including a child on the ground.
We simply do not know. And Ukraine's investigating this, and obviously we wouldn't get ahead of that, but we do not know what caused it.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby sent condolences to Ukrainians. Speaking by video to the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said there are no accidents at wartime, that these are all war results.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. A statement just released by the defense attorney for Brian Walsh, accused of killing his wife, who's been missing since New Year's Day. The statement says it's easy to charge a crime, much more difficult to prove it, adding they intend to win the case in court, not the media. The defense attorney also not commenting on evidence, saying the prosecution hasn't provided it to them yet. Social media gets called out over a drug shortage for diabetics as a medicine they use to regulate insulin levels becomes popular for weight loss instead.
Pharmacists tell us there is a direct correlation between Ozempic's 400 million TikTok views and supplies flying off local shelves. Celebs from the Kardashians to Julia Roberts and plenty of others have been accused of using Ozempic off-label. Elon Musk recently admitted to his Twitter followers it helped him lose 30 pounds.
Fox's Jillian Turner, the drug maker, acknowledges the issue, but tells Fox News it's up to the clinical discretion of each healthcare provider to choose the best treatment approach for their patients. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Gloomy and wet for any afternoon plans. Periods of rain. Could be a rumble of thunder, a flash of lightning. Kind of windy. 49 for the high. Tonight, any rain shuts down early evening. Clearing skies, but it stays windy all night long. 40 degrees. Still windy on Thursday. Partly sunny and a chilly 45. Friday, sunny and 42. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
What if everything you got came with a little bit of money? Spicy chicken ramen with a side of quarters, a full tank of gas, and a $5 bill, an entire pantry's worth of groceries, and a pocket full of cash. Well, then you'd be living life on the upside. The first platform that gives you real cash back in real life wherever you roll. restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all cashback opportunities. So order the expensive appetizer, buy a little extra at the store, fill your gas tank till the pump stops. Because with Upside, you can. Start earning cashback just for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code SPICY for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code SPICY. Promo code SPICY, SPICY, for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the upside with the free Upside app.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Fact-checking the mainstream media daily.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You found it here. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Brian Wiggins in studio. Did you hear the Andy McCarthy interview?
I thought it was great. Yeah, I was pulling clips for a promo, actually.
So much information. I think that's one of the hardest things to do in my job is keep my mouth shut and let people talk. It's a very difficult thing that you have to that I have to have learned over the course of time is I don't have Andy McCarthy on this show so people can hear me talk. I will talk in the other, but if he's talking, just let him go. And he takes the conversation where it should be, which is why, I mean, he is a top tier legal mind in this world. People are stopping and listening to what Andy McCarthy has to say. So if you have the opportunity to speak to him, and I'm wasting the time with my thoughts and opinions on the issue, that's not the right way to do it. And sometimes I enter an interview with that mentality, like, all right, let's go. And then you ask a question and they give a short answer and you're like, oh, okay, come up with more questions here. But if you missed it, please get on the Odyssey app, which is where you can listen to 97.1 anytime from anywhere, AUDACY, rewind to about 125. And he gave us a good 15 minutes or so of reaction and perspective on the Biden classified documents scandal, as it's being referred to. Car-a-Lago, some might call it. Jesse Waters. The White House briefing is going to happen soon. I mean, do people want to hear this? Do people want to hear what Karine Jean-Pierre doesn't say in a White House press briefing?
I was going to say, if it's Biden, maybe, but not no, she's not going to. She never says anything. She just looks at her notes and says, well, I don't, we've talked about that. And certainly we've blah, blah, blah.
But I mean, it is also important to know that she's not answering questions, which is why I was saying earlier in the show that if, going back to what Chuck Todd, we aired this yesterday, but Chuck Todd was talking to Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, the senator, and he was like, does anybody know if Hunter Biden's even committed a crime? Like, nobody's ever proved to me. Like, ask your freaking journalists that question who can go out and report on it. Because at this point in time, reporting on the fact that Hunter Biden didn't commit any crimes would be a really big news story. Like, you have an opportunity to take it whichever way the truth leads you to report on it. What is true? Find out and tell the world. And do it because you want to expose truth, not because you want to expose an agenda. Chuck Todd and everybody else who's involved in, if you're going to sit down and talk to a senator who has investigated these types of things, Senator Johnson's response is, have you read the report? Read the report. We outline all of it. Chuck Todd hasn't taken the time to do that. And if he has, he's dismissive of it. So what is he supposed to say? It's all political theater, and it drives me crazy because the classified document scandal for be it Joe Biden or Donald Trump, or if you listen to Andy McCarthy, he invoked the Hillary Clinton email thing. All of these are worthy of investigating why they did it, if they did it, what they did to begin with. And the American people deserve, like you right now, sitting at your kitchen table paying bills, sitting in your office space, getting through the day, looking at the clock and it's only 2:09 and you're like, how? Sitting in your car in traffic, trying to get from point A to point B, you are owed the truth. Yes, you. That is the difference here. It's not about politics. It's not about, well, how does this benefit the Republican Party? How does this hurt the Democrat Party? Like, you won't actually win the battles you're fighting by thinking like that. The truth is where the actual power rests with the American people. And if the American people don't care about what's true anymore, regardless of how it hurts or helps the political party you're affiliated with, then we just lose. Everybody loses, your political party included. And I don't think, Brad, when you're going through the cuts and you're pulling all sorts of different cable news reaction to this, these issues right now feel like they're very heavily centered on the politics of it. Mm-hmm. And if you watch Karine Jean-Pierre non-answer everything, that's a news story in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing to always remember, like when I look at the way Karine Jean-Pierre is not answering these things, she's actually doing Biden a favor because this is legal jeopardy, and anything that they say on the record can be used as evidence. And so what's best for them, for him, since this is legal jeopardy, I mean, we talked about that. You don't have, it's not intent, right? It's just gross negligence, is for her to say as little as she can possibly get away with saying, because everything, especially if she's a spokesperson for the president, if she's speaking for the president or she's speaking for the office of the president, it speaks to, it just would give evidence to a prosecutor that could be used against him in the future.
Brad, do you have a top line concern right now when it comes, like, is there a one question that you want to know the answer to when it comes to these classified documents?
Not really. Like, based on that interview, whenever he talked about what classifies something as top secret is that it could put the country at risk. Well, if there was a top secret document there, then by nature of the definition of top secret, the country is at risk. So I get, if I could just know anything, what was he doing with them? But I know I'll never get that answer.
Brian, what's your biggest concern right now? Do you have one?
What I want to know is how many times has this happened in the past to other presidents and vice presidents? Because if it's pretty common, then what we saw at Mar-a-Lago established a new precedent and made the Biden story into a story. Mm-hmm. If it's uncommon, then you still established a precedent, but Trump was the one establishing it, not the FBI. That's what I would like to know, because this seems like something that people have dealt with, and the FBI and DOJ have dealt with for a long time, and all of a sudden it changed when it came to Trump.
Well, the important thing to remember here is that even though Trump's raid and the story broke first, Biden had these documents before Trump had his documents, because these are from whenever Biden was vice president.
That's right.
So I don't think that Trump established the precedent in that sense.
I do think, that's what I'm saying, is that if the FBI raiding his home is the precedent, then that's the new precedent, that you cannot do this. The FBI is going to, I'm getting really into it here, but how does the FBI have more authority over this than the president or the former president or vice president? That I would like to know too, because that seems like two clashing heads of power, and one saying I'm more powerful than you. And I have not heard that question completely answered.
Well, this is what I would say to that there is a law, and the law is above everybody. Like everybody keeps reminding us, nobody is above the law. So the law is everything. So what the FBI would be doing in this situation is serving the law, not the office of the president, even though it is a branch of the president. It's part of the DOJ, right? It's, they would be serving what the law says, not what the president says, which is important. It's what you want from your law enforcement agencies.
Here's Nancy Pelosi in 2019.
The fact is that the President of the United States, in breach of his constitutional responsibilities, has asked a foreign government to help him in his political campaign at the expense of our national security, as well as undermining the integrity of our elections. That cannot stand. He will be held accountable. No one is above the law.
We don't know what was in the documents. We don't know why he had the documents. We don't know that he didn't know that he had the documents. We don't know. That was one thing that Andy McCarthy said is his quote, we are 5 minutes into this. That's accurate. When you know what Hunter Biden was involved in, we have validity to the emails that were involved on his and a whole lot more than emails because his Apple iPhone was synced up with his MacBook. So we have all of that information. We know where he was traveling to. We know what boards he was serving on. We know that he was paid a ton of money from foreign countries that are not necessarily American allies. We know that's as much as we know there, if not a little bit more. The impeachment process for Donald Trump the second time around was over a phone call between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. And at the time, that conversation, which if you ask Donald Trump about that phone call, he said it was perfect. It was a perfect phone call. They were discussing different defense mechanisms that the United States could provide, that were provided. They were not withheld. And in that conversation, they were discussing Donald Trump's request for assistance and compliance in investigations that they were carrying out that involved the Biden family. We know that Hunter Biden's been under investigation for some time now. We have the laptops that have been verified to be true. Nancy Pelosi is saying there in 2019 that the president needs to be held accountable. I mean, there's the thing about influencing elections because the suggestion is that the reason why that phone call was bad and why investigations into the Biden family at that point in time would be bad is because Joe Biden was a political opponent of Donald Trump. And somehow or another, investigating Joe Biden in Ukraine or with Ukraine would be digging up dirt on a political opponent. Therefore, it should be bad, and we should impeach Donald Trump. I would like to know the answers to the questions. What are in these documents? If you're curious about what the top secret marking on these documents really means, the severity of that, Andy McCarthy gave us verbatim what that classification means and how steep of a classification, the ramifications of those documents getting into the hands of an adversary, how bad that could be. Those are documents that were included at Joe Biden's house. We also, I think it would be foolish to think that there are no other documents anywhere else. If he had classified documents in a box next to his Corvette, which was, as he wants you to remember, in his garage, not on the street, because that would be weird. Is it unrealistic to think that Joe Biden might have documents somewhere else? Of course it's not unrealistic to think and to, scratch your head and probably pursue the thought, have we checked everywhere else? What else might be out there? When we apply the same measuring tape that the Democrats apply to Donald Trump when it comes to virtually anything Donald Trump does when he puts his feet on the ground in the morning until he lays back down in bed at night, there is no room for the Democrats right now to push this into a place where the American people shouldn't be interested in it. There's no room for the American media to act as though this isn't important. There's no ability for, in a non-hypocritical sense, the Democrats to look at what is going on around Joe Biden and say this is a nothing burger or a non-story. Not yet. We don't have enough information to put this in nothing burger category yet. Can you pop up Karine Jean-Pierre and see what she's saying about this right now at the White House press briefing?
Specifics, again, as you know, this is something, as I just mentioned, when it comes to the safety of American people, this is something that is a priority for us. We want to get to the bottom of what occurred just days ago, not too long ago. I don't have any specifics on the action that Congress is going to take. I'm going to go way to the back. Go ahead, Wes? Owen, sorry. Owen, I'm so sorry. That's my bad. Sorry, Owen.
Hi, Corinne. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'd like to turn your attention to Nigeria. Just a few days ago, an absolutely horrific story. A Catholic priest in his rectory early Sunday morning.
We're going to just dip in and with Martha McCollum. Nigeria, naturally. I don't know what that story is about, but we have not gotten straight information from Karine Jean-Pierre. And it would be foolish and naive to think that the White House press secretary is there to just like dump all the tea all over everybody and be like, oh, have you heard this? This is gonna blow your mind. Just wait until what I got for you today. Like, the idea is that they go out there and they say things in a way that explains what the administration is doing in a way that makes the administration look as good as possible. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kayleigh McEnany, those two specifically in the Trump administration, I watched do this in a way that did provide information and explanation as to why the administration was behaving the way they did. And people who were averse to their presentation of information, generally speaking, disagreed with the policies that were being enacted by the administration themselves. But that was substantive. That was the idea that you would be given information and you would say, well, I hate that they've decided to take this in this direction. I think this is the stupidest thing the administration could do. But you knew what the administration was doing. What we have right now with Karine Jean-Pierre is deflection after deflection after deflection. And it's very difficult to find any substance with it in anywhere, in anything that she says. That's my experience. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about why it might be good to be grumpy. Are you ever grumpy?
Yeah, I'm grumpy.
You get grumpy? Brad?
Oh, I'm an expert at grumpy.
You're expert grumpy?
Yes.
I get grumpy. I'm almost default grumpy. That's sad. Let's talk about it when we come back as to why it might be a good thing. Is this a little self-therapy here when we come back? I don't know. We'll find out. I won't be grumpy about it, though. Don't go away. Annie Frey Show returns in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'm Larry Mullins, host of the podcast Your Weirdest Fears, the show that explores the odd things that make your heart stop.
I am so scared of the Grinch. He is bad vibes.
We talk to everyone from therapists to exterminators to Lizard Man.
I was 25 when I actually got my tongue split. I have one tattoo that covers my entire body.
Listen and subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts from.
IGotFloored.com. That's the website. If you're shopping for flooring and you want to check out the locally owned and operated business here in St. Louis for 3 decades almost, Michael's Flooring Outlet. Eager to earn your business. I appreciate what Michael's Flooring Outlet has been able to do as a family-owned and operated business, dedicating themselves to helping you through navigate that flooring purchase. It's not something that people are well studied on flooring. You only care about flooring when you're buying flooring, and then you get it and you love it and you move on. But people who go to Michael's Flooring Outlet end up recommending Michael's Flooring Outlet. Their value is very, very tough to beat. So if you're shopping for a specific look and you've maybe perused a different location, different flooring store, make sure you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet before you make that purchasing decision. Talk to the customer sales staff there. Enjoy the displays that they have out so that you can see and feel what it's like to have that flooring under your feet. Michael's Flooring Outlet has an amazing selection of quality products at great values with a sales staff that's going to make you confident that you're getting the best bang for your buck and a wonderful purchase. Find them online at IGotFloored.com.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Ophthalmology Associates. My eye health is super important to me for a variety of reasons. About 30 years ago, I had an eye disease, and I almost had a retinal detachment, had surgery, everything has been okay, but regular eye care has become important for me and has been for decades, and I only trust the best. And that's doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra at Ophthalmology Associates. They're here in St. Louis to take care of all of your vision needs. Maybe you have dry eye or your eyes itchy and scratchy. It might be more than just allergies. And Ophthalmology Associates is a leader in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. Let's talk LASIK. With modern LASIK procedures, more people can benefit, and LASIK can reduce or eliminate your need for contacts and glasses. Even if there's nothing going on in particular, annual eye health exams can prevent many kinds of eye and health problems, and they're typically covered by insurance. If you want excellent eye care, trust Ophthalmology Associates. It's a great office experience and staff. They're always on the leading edge of the latest technology. 12990 Manchester Road, a half mile west of 270, 314-966-5000, online at yourEyeDoc.com. That's yourEyeDoc.com.
So let's talk about the Diamond Shop in Clayton, a St. Louis staple for people looking for jewelry and wanting to have people who are in the business who are going to care about them throughout the course of their process. That's the Diamond Shop. It's an easy decision to take your next jewelry purchase, the process of it, into the Diamond Shop. You can visit them online at thediamondshop.net and see the different types of pieces that they have right there on the website. You can become a VIP online at thediamondshop.net. Highly recommend giving that an opportunity so you can get exclusive offers and opportunities through being a VIP at the Diamond Shop. But what you're going to get at the Diamond Shop that is so important to my family, my husband and I, we both shopped there for various things, is the confidence that the piece that I want is going to be top notch. If you want a unique custom piece, it's going to be one of a kind, and you're going to be so happy with the process of being able to explain what you're looking for and talk about what that goal is and see that beautiful piece come to life with the amazing craft ability of Tom and the people over there at the Diamond Shop. It's an experience, and it's one that acknowledges that you're there with a specific piece in mind, with a budget in tow. They're going to respect all of it. You get it all when you shop in Clayton at the Diamond Shop. Go visit them online at thediamondshop.net.
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.
I'm trying so hard to buy one stock. I'm so dedicated to making this happen, and I'm going to feel like I just learned how to ride a bike when I do it.
I can't wait for you to have one stock, one share of one stock.
I mean, I have a 401k and a retirement and everything.
Daily be watching that stock.
What is daily? Minutely.
Yeah, by the minute. Ooh, it's really went up. I think I made about
buy
12
low, sell
cents.
high, buy low, sell high. Brian, do the segment quick.
Yeah, that's what. Well, that's how you do it, Annie. You buy low and you sell high.
I want to become a day trader right in front of your eyes, right here on the Annie Frey Show.
Day trader Annie.
That's a terrible idea.
There are so many people who have no idea about the knowledge you just dropped on them to buy.
I don't know what I just said.
You said buy low and sell high, and some people are like, "What?
Buy low."
I've been brilliant. I've been buying high and selling low like an idiot.
I think a lot of people have maybe been doing that right now. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Exactly.
Did that make you grumpy? If it did, then maybe you should focus on some detail-oriented tasks. There's a study. It's on studyfind.org. and I found this interesting because sometimes I'm grumpy. This study, they did a study where, first of all, it was all women. So knock it off. Leave me alone.
Really? It was all women?
In the study.
Okay.
And what they did is they had them do tasks. And first they would watch like a comedy, and then they would do the same tasks and they'd watch like Sophie's Choice or something like terrible that would put them in a bad mood. And then they did the same thing with audio. People would listen to something that was very positive and then listen to something that was sad or whatever. And the study said that when subjects were in a bad mood, they displayed a variety of brain activity closely associated with reanalysis. The professor said, we show that mood matters, and perhaps when we do some tasks, we should pay attention to our mood. If we're in a bad mood, maybe we should do things that are more detail-oriented, such as proofreading. I'm wondering if you've noticed, are there moods that you're in that make you, it doesn't have to be being grumpy, but are there things you just can't do if you're in a particular mood? Like if you're super happy, are you like, I can't pay bills right now, I'm just too happy, or something like that?
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good one. But I will say this, I cannot write if I am in a bad mood or am low energy. I have got to be in a great place, full of energy, ready to roll to sit down at the laptop and write. Otherwise, I'm not even thinking about it.
I don't know. If I wrote whenever I was in a bad mood, it would probably be the greatest rant of all time. It would put Chevy Chase to shame in Christmas Vacation.
I've seen that movie.
You know what I'm
have.
talking about.
Yeah.
I got that reference.
I think that I talked a little bit about this throughout the course of this week, but Sunday after we went to church, we connected with my in-laws and they took all 4 kids. I think they went there at about 5:30, maybe. It was close to 6. I'm not 100% sure. And the kids spent the night over there, and my husband and I got an evening and a night to ourselves. And so we cleaned. I talked about my New Year's resolution was to get rid of the things and to get organized. And when you have 4 kids, 6 people living in a house, there are so many things. And then you have Christmas happen. And then you have more things that are infiltrating your house. And you've got it. Okay, nice new things. Very nice and generous gifts from family and friends alike. What do you do with the old things? Because if you never get rid of the old things and you're always adding new things, there are too many things. So we went through our closet, each kid's closet. And when you have 3 girls that are boom, 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 10, 6, and 18 months, and you're passing that clothes down, you don't just get rid of the clothes. You have to tote it up and you have to store it. And then you have to store it in a place that you'll remember to check it when the next kid gets old enough to wear it. And you get to the point where it's overwhelming to the point. I've talked about being ADHD before, more ADD. Like when we were young, ADD and ADHD were different things, but I think it's all ADHD now. I don't think there's ADD anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's all ADHD.
Yeah, when I was in school, ADD was kind of a new term, but that's what everything was. Everything was ADD.
Yes. And ADHD was like the hyperactive part, because there's a difference between having a very difficult attention span and having an attention span that ends up distracting not just yourself, but other people, where the hyperactive comes in. We had my son tested for ADD, ADHD, and he showed all the signs for it. He was medicated for it for a little bit, and then we decided we wanted to move away from that. As he got older, maturity set in, and we work with him to cope with the things that he struggles with. But I actually realized so much more with myself, the struggles that he has that I absolutely have and just have overcome, because growing up in the 80s and the 90s, nobody talked about those things. They just said, pay attention in several forceful ways sometimes. But when I get to a place like that huge project of cleaning the entire upstairs and going through all the clothes, we did all of the laundry. All of it is done. We were doing laundry at my in-laws' house, we were doing laundry at my parents' house, and we were doing laundry at our house. And so if we wanted to do was make sure that we got through everything so that there wouldn't be things put back into the closets that shouldn't be in the closets. Had to get it out. And my husband, it's interesting to me to go into an endeavor like that because my husband and I operate so incredibly differently. Once I engage, I will not stop until it's done. Like I could stay up for probably 36 hours working through that to get the job done. Like once I engage, it's either I don't even want to think about that project right now. I'm not touching it. I'm not doing anything. There's no like, I'm going to do a little here and do a little there. It's all or nothing. And he'll hit like that 11:30 p.m. wall and be like, I can't do anything anymore. And it's just the way he functions. But he'll get up early. If there's something to do, he has no problem on a weekend getting up and getting out of bed at 6:30 p.m. to get the job done. That is not what I want to do at all. And it's like walking through this process this weekend. I think we quit cleaning around 2:30 in the morning. And then we got back up and picked up where we left off in the morning. Because we knew we had that deadline going back to work, going back to school. Once that happens, we don't have spare time in the day. We have to do it right now. He was able to keep going, but it was my vision and he was helping me achieve that vision as opposed to just kind of wandering around and doing our own stuff. But as I was moving through and finding different places, because I started out like I was like near breakdown stressed out about it because it seemed insurmountable at first. And he's Mr. Encouraging, like, it's fine. We'll get through it. We can do this. But once I start seeing the small victories, you get one place, you get one kid taken care of, then it's almost to me like an addicting high. Like, I gotta go. I gotta keep going. This is amazing. And now every time I walk upstairs in my house, I just like literally walk around in the rooms and look at my house and see how wonderful it is. But there was so much emotion involved in that task for me that like when I saw this, that detail oriented, working in a where you have to really commit to the tedious nature of things, that women at least perform better doing that when they're grumpy. Like that's the start of it.
Interesting. Because I'm hearing what you're saying is that there's a gender gap between the way women clean and the way men clean. Is that what are you talking about, the grumpy part or the cleaning part? Because what I'm seeing
I don't know if that's at all what I was talking about.
Because what I'm seeing is Amanda on our chat saying, same. If we're going to do it, let's do it. My wife is the same. I call it tornado clean. I say, you're in tornado clean. And she's like, yeah, get out of my way.
Do we all know what it's like? I'm just going to throw the gender out there. It's women. I don't know any men who are like this. When mom starts cleaning, it's militant.
Yes. Yes.
It is you're going to look me in the eye and do exactly what I say.
Yeah.
With kids involved and specifically.
Edge of breakdown emotional. Or at least that's the way it was in my house when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And like it would manifest itself in the weirdest places. And Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna set you out like this. So we would have company coming over and they're supposed to be there in like 5 minutes. The rest of the house is looking really good, but she's pulling the stinking refrigerator away from the wall to clean behind it. And
I love her.
And we're going,
what if the company looks behind the refrigerator?
which is what she's thinking and how irrational that sounds. And
Do you know what other people's refrigerators look like behind there? Do you? If they look behind ours, it needs to be. We need to be proud of it.
Beautiful house you got here. Shame about the fridge back.
Yeah.
That's so psychotic, and I relate to it so much. I see you, Mrs. Range. I get it. I know. I'm one of you. You're one of us.
I'm glad you said that because my wife will get in that mode and I'm like, you know what? I can help here, but even my help might get in the way.
You know how you help? You keep your mouth shut.
Yeah,
and
I
your
do.
Ears open.
She looks at you.
Basement time.
She looks at you with tears welling up in her eyes, and she's like, "You don't even care." And I'm going,
I'll go clean something else. I go clean my own room.
You care about, honey, a lot. I care a lot.
Yeah, I care about you so much that I am cleaning the furnace room out of the way right now.
I was, and seriously, it was because my in-laws kept the kids overnight, and then we went and got the kids from my in-laws and brought them over to my parents. So my parents kept them while my dad was helping do our laundry and my mother-in-law was helping do our laundry. I looked at my husband. We were sitting in my oldest daughter's room, and I said, what percentage? We were about 90% done getting ready to go get the kids finally. I said, what percentage of what we were able to accomplish in the last 26 hours would we have gotten done if the kids were here? And we settled on 20% if we were lucky.
Yeah.
If you're in my position with dozens of children, I have 4. When the kids are around, you are incredibly limited on what you can accomplish. When you get that moment to work without the kids around, it is superhero level accomplishment. You can do so much, and there's nobody asking you for help with this, or can I do that, or she did this, or he did that. Like, you can just get so much done, and you don't get to do that with kids. And that's, part of the game. I'm not complaining. It just is the way it is, which is why when people ask me, why do you still live in Illinois? It's because the kids' grandparents live within 10 minutes, and I'm paying a lot in taxes that I wouldn't pay if I lived in Missouri, but I would be paying a lot in babysitters should I move anywhere else. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather them be near and dear to their grandparents. But that feeling of accomplishment after it's all over is so incredible. And then I look back and go, why didn't I do this earlier? I went through that whole process when I didn't have the kids there, and I was super stressed out. Like, I had a ton of anxiety, but for whatever reason, I think it was because the kids weren't there to add to it. I never once got psycho like that. If the kids were home and people were coming, I'm pointing out tasks left and right. You do this, you do that. And the kids are really good about just doing, probably because they've learned to be that way. But there is a mode that I know women. Do you have that mode with anything?
With anything? I don't know about with anything, but with cleaning, no. I walk around like an idiot, looking at things and going, "Oh, I need to file that." I'm organizing while my wife's cleaning. It's a very different
you organizing?
process. Oh yeah,
Ryan,
I'm very much organizing.
I mean, we're not married to each other, but one of us might die in the event that you and I had to clean a house together.
Oh yeah, it's not good.
Work. It would not work.
We found our peace with each other.
Brad, do you have anything in your life that causes you to flip the switch the way mom cleaning?
Nothing to that intensity. There's nothing in my life that gets that intense, but there are things that, like, once I get going, I'm rolling, and it's just keep going.
The hyper focus.
Yeah.
I had to come in the studio because when you guys were talking about the mom mode cleaning, I felt this sense of fear because I have the fear of God in me from watching my mom clean, knowing when a holiday is coming up or something. And it is pull the fridge out, clean the chimney, the most irrational things.
You run around
need to be perfect.
Why do we live like slums? Why are we okay with this? Who's going to clean the cabinets? But what about the baseboards? Has anyone cleaned behind this toilet this century? You just keep going and going and going.
You just are do we need anything from the grocery store? Yes, get out. It's so scary.
Maybe it would be better if you would just leave and I do it myself.
Yes, that is a direct quote.
I got causing people to have nervous flashbacks.
I know,
right
I'm having PTSD right now.
It's so interesting hearing you say this though, because, and I kid you not,
Man, I'm glad people relate to this.
The times that we've come over to your house for Christmas parties or whatever, election parties and other stuff. When we come over to your house, or especially Christmas, because that's when our families would be, other things is just us. But when our families would come, I would make a joke. I would walk in the door, and I don't even know if you remember this, but I'd be like, you doing tornado clean right before we come over? And you were genuinely like, no. And my wife was so impressed by that she still talks about it.
That I said no?
Yeah, because I was kidding, you didn't get this room quite well enough, but this one's looking pretty good. I was just kidding with you. And you were oblivious. You did not care at all.
Because the room, you were probably talking about the room on the right. It probably was not organized.
I have no idea.
I'm not 100% sure I know what you're saying. Are you saying that the house could have been cleaner?
Well, I was, yes, I was walking around jokingly pointing behind the fridge and stuff, doing that thing, being like, yeah, you did a pretty good job before we came over, but there's a few things that you missed.
This is why we have complexes, gentlemen.
But you were so unfazed by it, and I mean genuinely unfazed.
Probably.
That my wife is like, man, Annie's got that figured out. And now to hear you say this.
I was heavily intoxicated.
I guess so.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this when we come back. I need your vote in the YouTube live chat poll today. Have you voted yet? Will Joe Biden finish his first term? Nobody in here has answered the question yet. Our responses to this when we come back. No, he won't finish it. Yes, he will finish it. Or yes, and he's going to run again. Go give us your vote. Leave a comment. Hannah's going to give us the updates. When we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
My dreams are coming true. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 18th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 314-530-7777.
AirComfortService.com. Visit the website and you can learn about all of the different ways they help you afford that new HVAC system you might be in the market for. If your furnace is not working properly, if you're not in your comfort zone on a regular basis, or if you've noticed super sky high energy bills lately, the energy prices are going up, but is your furnace working for you the way that it's supposed to? Consider a high efficiency furnace from Air Comfort Service. You can have them come out and check up, do the maintenance, the tune up on your furnace way it is right now, and let you know what kind of performance your furnace is putting out. There are other things that can be causing your furnace to run overtime. Poor insulation. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. Another thing is the ductwork in your house. Is it leaking air all along the ventilation so that the heat that you're paying to, heat the air in your house is not getting to the rooms where it's supposed to be? Air Comfort Service can help you with all of these different things. Call them and set up an appointment to have your furnace checked out today. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's St. Louis area attorneys. 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Town & Country, Missouri, 63017. Online at CordellCordell.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing,
Together, millions of things for our planet. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly, and recycle old clothes by donating them. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Wednesday afternoon, Illinois Congressman Mike Bost and Joel Kotkin on the rise of the single, woke, and young and democratic female.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I tweeted out after we got done cleaning that we had spent the last 18 of 26 hours cleaning in our house, my husband and I, when we were navigating our upstairs of our house where our bedrooms are. And somebody on Twitter said, congratulations, enjoy it for a week. That was like, that's really sad and true at the same time. It was kind of deflating, but true. That's just the way it goes. We've been talking about militant mom cleaning, of which I've been known to do from time to time, but generally speaking, it's not motivated by company coming over. We're really busy as a family, and I think when people talk about being really busy, it's almost like an unspoken competition. Like,
oh yeah,
people are like, I'm super busy. Like that is somehow indicative of how important or needed or whatever that I am. I'm not really busy doing exciting things to anybody else. I'm busy doing, I work, my husband works, 4 kids, and lots of basketball practices and basketball games, volleyball games, baseball games. So it's just like kid family stuff. It's absolutely run of the mill. Anybody's family experiences the same thing. But if you have a series of days where you are super busy back to back to back, Ryan, you've got 3 kids. Do you ever just get so caught up in the minute by minute where I got to be and what I got to do that you realize that all of this other stuff has been happening in your life, and all of a sudden you've just not paid any attention to it? And then for me, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And if part of that is I like walk into the house after a crazy busy day and it's 9:15, the kids haven't eaten dinner yet, they need to take a shower, and I look around at the house and it's not clean, and it's just like boom.
That doesn't do that to me, but the feeling of having a clean house is really good. I will admit that.
It's
refreshing.
Nice.
It's
you look around and you're like, how bad was it that I feel this refreshed that it's better now? That's what I think.
We had in our bedroom still the diaper changing area from when Molly was like a baby and needed to be changed on a table and everything. That's gone. Like, we got rid of all of that stuff out of there, so we only have the necessary pieces of furniture in our room. We got rid of I was throwing stuff away. I got to the point where I was finding like socks that were maybe stray. I'm like, pitch it.
Oh yeah.
I told my husband, I said,
that's deep clean.
Let's get if at the end of this laundry, if anything doesn't have a pair, I don't care if it's an expensive wool knit sock or a standard issue white Hanes sock, all of it in the trash. And if we need new socks, we'll buy new socks. If we can pair any up and I don't know if donate them, I said we can do that, but they have to get out of the house.
You're still in that phase. The first few years of a baby's life, every 6 months, you need a whole new set of things.
Up until 18 months, it's like every 3 months.
Yeah. So you're going through that stuff still and getting rid of it. And I can tell you, I'm on the other side of that. That gets a little bit easier as time goes. The house doesn't get cleaner. You just have less bigger stuff in the way.
Well, I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I don't see it that way.
Well, I mean, you still have the baby though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just starting to get to where she's a toddler.
Have you seen my 13-year-old lately?
I think so.
He's like a young man.
He's
now.
a dude. He's one of the dudes. We're out there playing wiffle ball At Molly's birthday, he's just one of the dudes.
He's bigger than that now.
Yeah, like dramatically.
Yeah, I feel like week by week he's growing older. Well, he is growing older, but he physically looks older. Wow, that's crazy. He's getting.
I
he's
feel like
getting
in
old.
some ways, all of us get older with time.
That's him from last night.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's as tall as I am.
Is he?
Yeah. Rude.
Well,
How long is he
going
gonna grow out his hair for?
I don't know. We have a lot of fights about the hair because I want him to. He has longer hair. It's down to his shoulders. We've had it cut twice with the idea of it. If you want long hair, you have to get it trimmed. You can keep it. You know, you hate
Gotta
say
take care of
you don't want to say
Yeah.
where it's like, we need to get your hair cut in a style, because then he'll be like, oh, what style, mom? You know, we go to hair
Exactly
salon
like
and get
that.
his hair cut to keep it long, keep it healthy. But I'm like, you have to shampoo it correctly.
Yes.
So just the other day, I
gosh.
said to him, he was going to take a shower. I said, put these on. I gave him his swim trunks. I'm like, I'm going to watch you shampoo your hair. So I retaught, he's going to kill me. I retaught him how to shampoo his hair, because what he was doing was putting, I think he uses the appropriate amount, but he was just like slicking it back. I'm
Oh.
like, you need to get in there. And then the next day his hair still looked great. I'm like, see? And so the threat now is, I'm going to shampoo your hair for you, or we're going to cut it, or you're going to do it right.
Make a deal with him. Just cut the top,
No, still my son.
like around the sides and back, and say
You
long.
want me to impose
But
a
the very
skullet?
top, he's
Give
got
it-
to, and he has to learn
Skullet?
Gregorian
Give him the
chant.
Martin Luther.
Don't you know what a skullet is?
No,
We'll show you.
We'll give you one.
it doesn't
No,
sound.
we're not
I don't
gonna
want
sit down in this
anything
chair
with
right here.
skull.
If anybody in here is going to have a skullet, Ryan,
Well, then I need to get to work
I hate to
because
tell
it's
you.
all short.
You gotta get a job at a comic book shop, though.
YouTube live chat
Or a
poll.
monastery.
Okay. YouTube live chat poll is asking. This is a reoccurring poll.
Should Joe Biden grow a skullet? Yes or no?
He's not that far away.
If people say no to that, I am very disappointed in
Okay.
you.
Will Joe Biden finish his term? No, yes, or yes, and he'll run again. 54% of the people said yes, Joe Biden will finish his first term. 31% of the people say no, he will not. And 14% of the people say yes, he'll finish his term and he'll run again for
Wow.
re-election.
A third of the people say he won't finish it.
That's crazy.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
We had a lot of votes too.
And I'm surprised that it's that small that people who think he's going to run again.
Me too.
You think he's going to run again?
That's the camp I'm in. I
You're
say
saying
yes
yes.
and still run again.
Brad?
No, he's not going to finish. This is the beginning of the end of the Biden administration.
Oh,
They're
man.
going to start ushering him out because the Hunter Biden stuff, the indictments are about to come down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be anything like super salacious. It'll be like tax fraud or something like that.
Does he step down or does he get?
I think he steps
booted?
down.
Does he get the boot? Yeah.
Yeah, he's either going to step down or they're going to boot him because
Or
he's
does
going to
Das
pardon.
Boot?
He's going to pardon Hunter, which maybe was the whole purpose of him running for president to begin with.
I think I'm going to say yes, that he finishes his term and doesn't run again.
That's what I was
Oh,
trying
wait.
to say too.
So
No,
we're all
no,
different.
I don't
then.
agree with you.
Oh, I was chugga chew.
I know you were chugga. No, wrong. What do you think, Hannah?
I think that he will finish his first term, but he's not going to run for re-election. Wow. I don't think his people will let him.
The majority said yes. The majority
Mhm.
answered yes, and the minority answered yes and run again. And a third of you think he's not going to finish, Brad included.
The rest of you are wrong.
Go subscribe to the Annie Fry Show YouTube page and get us to 5,000 before Ryan and Brad and Hannah and Anna put together their dance that they owe us from 4,000 subscribers. And then I said yesterday I punish Hannah. We have yet to agree on on terms.
Let's not agree on terms and let's just
Skull it.
do it.
5,000.
No!
Oh, no, we might have a winner. Let's ask the Mark Reardon Show coming up next. Don't go away.
What I love about working at Shane Company is that there's always something new going on. New things to look at, new jewelry for you to try on, new offerings. In addition to our great selection of natural diamonds,